It was you who tagged me. Okay.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of Galactic Nerd Outpost. I'm your host, Joey McGee, aka Gojin the Makai Phantom.
No!
And joining me is Zimzilla99.
What's up, guys?
And Abyss Kaiser.
Hey, what's up?
And recently, first I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Some people are probably going to be confused, considering that I haven't uploaded the other Galactic Nerd Outposts from Twitch yet, which I'm probably going to from Twitch yet to YouTube, but I'm still a bit behind on those, and I'm not going to stream this one on Twitch because most of my viewership comes from YouTube.com, and I want people to be able to see this live on YouTube. But the others are still coming. Anyway, to catch y'all up, I've last month did a video on this guy who did an awful review of Kamen Rider Black Sun. He really did not understand it at all and basically just complained about the fact that they gave the original Black a more political coding. And apparently he saw that video and he responded. And let's take a look at it.
And I assume we're probably just gonna be sharing it via the thing right here, so we should be able to hear it as well.
Oh shit! 1 minute. I have this fucker a bit sped up because he talks slow as fuck throughout, and it's like I'm not getting any younger here.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yep. Aaron Howard's gonna be in his grave when this is over.
Hey guys, it's Stan here. So, funny story. I was doing some work on my channel recently.
Can you guys hear it?
In my video feed, someone had made a response video about me, specifically my first Kamen Rider video, the one where I talked about Black Sun and why I think it sucks. I have to say, this is the first time I've ever gotten a response video like this before.
Okay,
so,
first elephant of the room. This is sped up, and it still had that a little few seconds of him not saying something. Edit your damn videos, kid!
I say that as I also do the exact same thing sometimes. Well, here's the thing. At least I'll say in my case, it's usually just to draw out the length of a video that's like maybe 15 minutes, not a video that's like already 55 minutes long. But
it's funny how his original video was just 5 minutes of him bitching about it and hear him just slowly talking like he's been. No, I wouldn't say Ben Shapiro, but like quartering or some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I have been betrayed, annoyed, defamed. Let's get into it. That's what this sounds like, but
time to watch my video and talk about it. I think it's only courtesy to say with them. So I'm going to check out this video, see what they have to say, and give my reaction to it. Now, just going in, I have not seen the video yet. I haven't seen any videos from the channel yet. This is my first impression of whoever these guys are. So I'm going in completely blind, and we'll see where this goes. Now, before I get into the video itself, I would like to take a moment to talk about the video's title and thumbnail. So the title of the video is Insecure Gremlin, which is me, has mental breakdown over Kamen Rider Black Sun, Anti-SJWs need to stop. Now, in response to that last bit of the title, I need to make something very clear. My videos aren't politically motivated whatsoever. I'm here to talk about Japanese superheroes.
Bullshit, man. The majority of the points you were making is complaining about how the show took a series that was originally simple, yet still political in areas, because someone left in the comments of my video, and we'll take a look at that soon. Even the original Black had some elements of politics, and made it more explicit here. Also, with the comparisons you made to Hollywood works, which admittedly have an issue with wokeness, it really adds up to that you're either on the right side of the spectrum or brainwashed into thinking the majority of works are woke these days. My response isn't political. It's essentially going into how you're criticizing the show for nothing else but merely existing. You don't like the vision of it. And a lot of your points do add up to that. And again, I don't like woke shit either, but this isn't woke. And let's not act like you weren't trying to paint it as woke. And and a lot of your later points in this video kinda proves my point on that's what you were saying. You don't have to like the more complex narratives in Kamen Rider. You don't have to like media with explicitly political lenses. But that just means it isn't your cup of tea. Not that it's automatically bad because they had a vision you didn't care for. For example, Godzilla 98. My issue with that movie has nothing to do with its choice of direction, even if it's far more different from the source material. material than even Kamen Rider Black Sun, because obviously the concept was made for people who's interested in a reimagining of the 54 movie by 90s Hollywood, what Godzilla would look like if they deconstructed him down to the basics of his design, over outlandish aspects he'd have, or simply people who like those kinds of movies. But while I don't hate 98, there's a lot of actual criticisms to throw its way, like pushing the digital effects boundaries when they weren't ready for a bigger focus on them, unless necessary, like Jurassic Park, forced humor that sometimes makes no sense, and a underdeveloped romance that comes and goes and comes back again with little build-up.
Did you literally just bring up 98 just because I'm here?
No.
I was
But
about to say, I'm like,
Majority of your streams has to do with you talking about 98.
exactly. Because I'm like, hey, yo, I feel personally offended right now and personally attacked. So
Yeah, 98 special effects were really bad, especially when you look at Jurassic Park and then Phantom Menace, which came out a year later. Phantom Menace is not a very good movie. I mean, I'll still sooner watch it than any of the Disney bullshit, but its special effects are fucking god tier at its time, groundbreaking even probably.
Yeah, same. Like Phantom Menace for that time was pretty good, but I'd also say like another thing that could be said, but the difference between Black Sun and like, for example, 98 would be that Black Sun is not trying to be a direct one-for-one remake of the original series, but indeed is trying to update it and add more complexity to the series, unlike 98, which was essentially a completely different reimagining. And I think this is always something that kind of stems from the fact that like anytime something is kind of being redone, there is going to be that line people are going to have to walk between whether you want something to be essentially shot for shot remake or glorification, i.e. something like the 05 King Kong film from Peter Jackson, which takes whole scenes and some lines from the original 33 film, which is to the film's benefits, or you're going to want to try to do something where you're taking the basic premise and sort of revamping it in that sense, which is what like the Force Awakens did for Star Wars in comparison to like A New Hope. But the issue with that comparison also is the fact that like you're essentially dealing with the same characters, and there's already going to be that baggage and love people have for the original characters that everyone's going to have like those kinds of issues where it's like, I don't feel like this character was properly represented. And I think that therefore there's going to be a lot of what I feel is justified anger or disappointment from people, but it's also going to come down to the actual arguments people are making as well.
Yeah, like if we're going to compare Black Sun to a Godzilla movie, it's more like Shin Godzilla in the sense that Shin Godzilla didn't take away from the 54 film, it added more to it. And that's what Black Sun does. It doesn't strip away anything from the original Black besides Kotaro's sisters and a few things like that. The majority of the plot is intact. They just decide to make it more complicated. Like that isn't the point of an adult-aimed writer series.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's go back to it. This video sucks, guys.
Not politics, because frankly, not only does politics seem to ruin everything it touches, regardless of the subject, there's also just way too much of it. You know, if I want to talk about that crap, well, I sure as hell wouldn't be doing it on YouTube. So, sure, I got my own political opinion.
You are, dude! I'm not gonna go on this little tangent again, but it's like, dude, your video gives it away.
You got yours. They're probably different. Hey, that's how free will works.
This is going to be a long-ass stream, I can already tell.
Subliminally mind control you into having.
Hey, I'm for it, though.
Some bullshit. Like, no, I'm here to talk Kamen Rider, whether I like it, whether I don't like it, and just have a rather civil discussion about it. Now, I will admit that while my initial Black Sun video, which I might do a look at before down the line, we'll see. While all my opinions are pretty much still the same as when I made that video, you just definitely tell the video was very emotionally charged when I made it. It was very reactionary. I had pretty much made it right after I finished watching Black Sun. And it was a very spur of the moment type of thing. I wasn't planning to make a video on it or whatever. I was just going to watch it and see if I liked it or not. And well, the ending of the show left me so frustrated and disappointed that, well, I made the video and here I am. So there's an explanation of that.
Okay.
No politics needed.
First, I'll give the W to this kid for basically admitting the video was shit. But yeah, that's the issue. You spoke from nothing but emotions. While it's okay to throw around preferences, you are talking like, oh, this is bad because it's not my liking, rather than this isn't my cup of tea.
I think like also generally too, it's not like he was trying to ride like a wave of sort of like writer videos that were coming out. I guess because it just finished, he wanted to get his thoughts out there so it kind of could exist in the algorithm. But that always comes with the fact that whenever you're doing YouTube stuff and you want to get your stuff noticed, trying to get it out as quick as possible is always going to be the more tempting option. And you can always kind of get lost in the sauce and those kinds of things and just not come out with the best were the most sort of well constructed videos and or like takes, I guess. Like a good example of that, even for myself, is the fact that when I did my old Magic the Gathering Godzilla cards, I left out a couple because I was trying to get on that topic as quick as possible. And I mean, I'm happy that the video did well. It's got like 18K views on it, but that is just kind of the nature of the beast sometimes. So I don't blame him entirely for making a very emotional video. It's just whenever you're trying to make an analytical video, that's always gonna be something you have to deal with.
Exactly. Like for me, for example, you saw my Black Sun review. Like, I wanted to ride the wave a bit, but I wanted to make sure that I put out a quality video by saying everything I wanted to and diving into all my points. And you know what? I'm happy with how it turned out. I think you even enjoyed my Black Sun review.
Yeah, it was informative. Outside the fact that we're buddies, I'm gonna be biased in that sense. I'm not like for anyone who is wondering, I'm not a big Rider fan at all. I stick mostly to the kaiju side of Toku, but from his Rider review, I have a pretty good understanding of the show. So it also produces better evergreen content as well. So like anyone who may want to get into Black Sun who hasn't watched the series yet can watch that video, not be completely spoiled, but understand like the broad strokes in a pretty good sense.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Yeah, like I said, sorry.
No, finish. It's a podcast, bro. Say what you want.
It was just 5 minutes of him bitching without going into detail about why he hated the shit hardly.
Exactly.
How did he get several? I guess it's algorithm shit because it just came out. But how the hell did he get several thousand views over just a really bad videos beyond me? But whatever.
Oh yeah,
I mean, negativity always sells. So yeah,
like
just play the other one. I mean, get on him.
Like shit, he puts more detail in this fucking video than he did in that one.
Yep. And the thing about him when it comes to that video is, like, yeah, it's definitely an algorithm thing because I noticed when a YouTuber is new, YouTube tends to push out their new video out more. He was pretty new when he made that video. And also when you check the comments of his video, I think there's more negative than positive. But that said, let's get back to it.
There are plenty of ways I can complain about this thing without involving that hot mess of a subject. Anyway, so that's the title. Very interesting title. Then we get to the thumbnail, which is the top image. It's just a picture from some kind of promotional image for Black Sun. That doesn't appear in my video at all, so it's just there because it looks cool, I guess, which is a pretty cool image. Then at the bottom, you see it's kind of the clip where they give my video title. Like you can see my little avatar there. And right above it, you can see a little red arrow.
Yeah, we can see your little avatar. Thank God we can't see your little penis. You probably wanted to show that.
Pointing at me with a word saying, "This man has no penis," which both of you assume I am a man. I am a man. I am indeed a big
I don't believe you're a man, dude. Now I'm getting suspicious about you.
Wrong man, as it would be. But still, both of you to assume. A very, very insensitive thing to do.
He's a danger prince.
This man has no penis. It is kind of weird that people on the internet I've never met before would have no fascination of my genitalia. So that's definitely a very interesting start. So
you don't have a genitalia. We already been through this.
That's where like he essentially, for when anyone's doing online banter, for anyone who's curious, if your first offense is going to be the famous, "Oh, I didn't know someone was so interested in blah 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 blah," that's like low tier effort, smug, aloof response. If you're making mention of it, you obviously care to some degree. You could probably just say, "Wow, he's really trying to be crass or lowbrow with his humor." Moving on. But the fact that he really wants to make this bit a thing shows that probably to some degree it probably did affect him.
Oh, it definitely affected him, especially with how he goes on later in the video. Yes, I've watched it.
He flat out says, and later on in the video, like if he was someone saying this shit to him, he wanted to punch him or something like that.
Yeah, I laughed my shit, my fucking ass off about that. It's like, oh
and
my God.
And it just now popped in my head. He's starting to remind me of Bring Halo Back.
Oh, yes! Yes, you're right. This is Bring Halo Back levels of spurging here.
Pretty much.
And also, yeah, I made it in the thumbnail to match up with my other videos and deconstructing insane nonsense online. And also, thank you, Zimzilla, for giving me the name idea for that series. It was you who gave it. I want to give you credit for that.
Y'all should watch it.
Right, give me credit for
y'all. He's a fucking YouTuber who like bitched about like Halo, Halo 3 shadow dropping, and he like made a whole video just bitching and bitching.
Yeah.
And then a famous YouTuber called Griffin Gaming, kinda. He started doing response, and he did a response, and then response. All of it, every single one of his videos is worth watching. It's fuck.
Exactly. But yeah, because I try to make this series more on the meme-ish side. Plus, it's so absurd. Most of the time, it gets clicks, and it did. That video is over 1,000 views. And the video is also very well received because I've gotten a lot of comments that were actually more harsh on you than I was. So it's funny how I'm the one you're getting offended at.
I guess it's because of the fact that since you made the video, so like you actually put all the effort into making a video, he's going to be a little bit more ass mad about that than comments, because comments still give him engagement. This doesn't.
That is true.
Well, I mean, it still could. There's probably less.
Yeah. But also, you can tell from how he's talking that you could tell from how he's talking, he's assuming I'm some cringy social justice warrior YouTuber. My guy, check out my catalog and click the deconstructing insane nonsense online playlist. I'm not politically correct in the slightest.
Your first G.N.O video was going after an SJW, for crying out loud.
Exactly.
Professor Otaku.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just I know that's another thing that kind of says that he's on a side, because he's assuming that the fact that I'm calling out his stupid take that I'm some social justice warrior, and that's another thing that gives it away what he's on. Because I didn't assume he was a conservative or anything. Because frankly, I don't give a fuck where you line politically. I don't like political discussion, to be completely frank. But the thing is, when he's making these types of assumptions on where I line, and all I did was call me an anti-SJW. Anti-SJW could go on multiple sides of the spectrum. It could go on apoliticals also. But I don't know, it just says a lot about him with how he's behaving, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, while I myself can agree that political discussion can be fucking cancer, I don't oppose it in my entertainment if it's executed properly. Because again, saying that it shouldn't be in Kamen Rider, does that mean we shouldn't have movies that are about someone like a politician because the politics are explicit?
I think the one thing that always comes down to the idea of we want to keep politics out of entertainment is the idea that we do not want propaganda, which I think is a fair assessment to make. However, the thing is that anytime like you get into these issues that become exceptionally partisan, you always have to worry that like if you are trying to be as fair as possible even to your opposition is going to see that as weakness and therefore take advantage of it. And that's the issue with politics is always going to be power games, and then you become a paranoid loser who lives in your mom's basement and kind of does dumb shit. But like I think that there's times where like you need to know when your enemies are or aren't there, and I think that this is a case where I think he probably just misspoke too. Again, I am playing the wonderful advocate of the devils here, to use a term, obviously.
Yeah, but, I get that.
Yeah, so that's my introduction to this video. That's the thumbnail and title. Let's see where this goes. Okay, I'm gonna hit play. Just give me 1 second.
Finally.
Hitting play. 3, 2, 1.
Before we get into the video, please consider subscribing, liking, and clicking the Discord link down below. Lots of cool stuff going on down there as we basically talk about nerd stuff and whatever else. That said, enjoy.
The old stereotypical, please like my, subscribe to my channel, join Discord bullshit.
Luckily, most people can agree it's fucking awesome and gave what it promised. Multiple, myself included, discussing the possibilities of what a Black RX can do. Some even argue it beats the original, and I'm not completely opposed to that opinion, as good as 87 is. But handling political topics, you're bound to piss off some moron on the spectrum. And I mean that in more ways than one.
So, I guess the moronic question here is me.
No shit, Sherlock.
But it's just really interesting that they looked at my video specifically for the thumbnail. Well, let's just keep it. Let's just take a look. Let's see.
To be fair, sometimes there's a reason for it, often relating to it being preachy, hateful, or just poor handling of said topics. But then there's situations like Prey, where people are making false woke claims because it happens to carry a left-leaning message, or worse, like Black Sun's case, it criticizes both sides. But maybe this video offers...
I have never seen Prey, and I don't frankly care about it, so just focusing on Black Sun here.
Okay, here's the thing.
And you were daft for not watching that fucking movie.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I wasn't talking about you specifically. I was simply going over how anti-SJW outrage is sometimes warranted in points of like Ghostbusters or Star Wars in recent years, while other times...
Or Saints Row, which is in your video.
Yeah, that too.
Fuck that game.
While while other times it's nothing but people mad that a piece of art either followed a woman or a minority, or even has a light-leaning left message. We weren't speaking about you yet. This was nothing other than the introduction of the fucking video. I don't know how he didn't grasp that. I thought that was pretty obvious.
Yeah, and I think it's more. I think it's very much one of those just grasping at straws kind of moment there. But let's continue.
Yeah. Food for thought. Let's find out.
Hey, that's my title. Thanks for using it, man. It's a cool one, isn't it? Simple, but can't go wrong with the
The only good part of your original video.
Okay, Offspring intro. I like your style.
Thank you.
Let's continue.
Kamen Rider Black Sun is a perfect example of how not to do a reboot.
I'm sorry. It sounds like he just got done deep-throating a group of black dicks after he begged them on his knees to do him instead of his...
Well, that's a pretty rude thing to say. Got something against people sucking black dicks? I don't think that's...
Again, the bit's stupid. It was stupid from the beginning. It's like third grade level response tactic to something like this. Like, I would respect him more if he tried to make a insult back. Like, I guess he doesn't understand banter. That's just not his style of humor. But again, oh my gosh, I didn't know. Do you have an issue with this? It's stupid. It's cringe. It's played out.
Yeah, it's the same thing MD Chaos tried pulling with me before, and it's like, it's just kind of pathetic, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Like, you don't appear more mature when you do that. You just look stupid.
Exactly. Like, again, I think he's kind of pulling that to kind of assume I'm some social justice warrior when obviously I'm not. Like, the way I'm speaking in that video, I think kind of gives it away.
Girl.
From the pretentious rewrites to the disappointing action, and even relegating the titular main character, whose name is the title of the freaking show, and turning him into a glorified side character is unforgivable.
Did they? I seen it more as there was a focus on each party, as it's not like she was in every scene with Kotaro and...
So he's mentioning my problem with Kotaro not being the main protagonist, despite the fact it's Kamen Rider Black Sun. I haven't mentioned Aoi yet. I will later. I know where he's coming from, but I haven't mentioned him yet. And it's true that while different factions in the story do get focus, Kotaro's not really part of the faction. Remember, he spends the majority of the story being a homeless man living in a bus. He doesn't have that much interaction with the story until like the very beginning when the whole Golden crap goes down, and the very end where they're trying to take out the Creation King. Anyways, moving on.
Current day alone. Not to mention the time jumps it did each episode, focusing solely on them in the past.
Well, it does. Well, the flashback scenes do feature Kotaro. He mostly takes second stage to I'm so bad with names. Forgive me. Shadow Moon. Shadow Moon's character gets the majority of the interaction and focus when it comes to those scenes. And Kotaro's just kind of there going along with what he says.
Okay, so a reason why I let the previous statement run, because like I said, I seen this video, I knew he was going to elaborate more on it, is because that way it's easier to get into my analysis. In those flashbacks, they were completely about the love triangle between Nobuhiko, Yukari, and Kotaro. It's why you get moments of Yukari swaying the two into her plan of killing the Creation King. You get moments she was talking to Kotaro, or one where she spoke with Nobuhiko, which would get Kotaro's perspective, seeing her kiss him because he liked her as well. This whole past was basically to show the past relationship between Kotaro and Nobuhiko, to explain how their dynamic started, their history with Gorgom, and how it became so flimsy in the present day. His time being a homeless man living in a RV avoiding Gorgom was added in to show how far he's fallen since then, avoiding them, where he himself just hates Kaijin until Gorgom and Shadow Moon come back to haunt him. That's why he begins more stoic, but ends more charismatic as he accepts his fate, spending so much time with Aoi. But credit when it is due, at least you tried diving into your argument here, while in the original video, he just made a claim and left it at that. So I'll give some credit, but your point is still moot.
Again, that's what happens when you do a video really fast and you give kind of surface level analysis.
Exactly.
Does this guy want Daddy Kotaro to put it in his ass? I mean, listening to his voice and looking at Big Daddy Kotaro here, he'll utterly destroy that boy pussy after inserting the entire next generation. Oh.
So, first off the bat, I see it's the problem with people wanting to get fucked in the ass, which is very insensitive.
The bit's stupid. Stop it.
So, from the sound of it so far, he's trying to belittle me by implying that I am a homosexual. Just gonna.
All banter.
Okay. Okay, we gotta hear that again. That's funny.
From the sound of it so far, he's trying to belittle me by implying that I am a homosexual.
Yeah.
It does kind of have that my day is ruined kind of thing. It does kind of have my day is ruined kind of energy to it.
Okay, I'm sorry that made me laugh, but no, I'm not trying to belittle you at all. I'm essentially just throwing around an absurd joke to keep people entertained. One of the points of creating my deconstructing and saying nonsense online series is to kind of bring back that 2016 commentary edge of Leafy is here, iDubbbz, Filthy Frank, you name it, while
iDubbbz before I became a cuck.
Yeah. While blending it with an analysis on deconstructing the arguments, nerd stuff in particular. Honestly, I don't really see these jokes as personal. They're just that, jokes. You'll notice the difference between how I treat you and how I treat Professor Otaku. I go for much more personal mixes, while I'm just throwing around a bunch of over-the-top ways of saying, oh, you're gay, or oh, you're a hoe, and stuff like that. Just very over-the-top ways. If you deconstruct my jokes, that's basically all there is. It's nothing personal. It's
but
just...
Comrade Joey, he is a hoe, though.
Yeah. The only one that's as much of a hoe as Mainman is our boy Abyssilla. He's taking more of the BBC than him, and which is funny. But to be fair, Mainman's is too tiny to take more than 5. Abyss can take the entire generation. So.
Wasn't he the entire football team, or is that a little bit too outdated?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he could definitely.
I can take jokes way better than this guy. My God.
You can take a joke almost as well as you can take dicks.
Ah!
Damn, I walked into that one.
Does mean you jumped and landed on it?
Yeah. He landed right on his ass. But yeah, it's not the core aspect of my video. It's like how Uncle Roger responds to cooking videos. He makes crazy jokes, but he still throws in genuine points. Granted, I think I'm a bit more serious than Uncle Roger in the arguments I'm making, but point is, it's satire blended with criticism.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I see what you're going for, Gojin. You're trying to be the the Leafy or the iDubbbz of the Takatsu YouTube community.
Yeah, very much. That's very much what I'm trying to do.
Go, Toto-senpai! Don't come at me!
This is exactly what happens when you give a series into the hands of people who have no idea what they're doing or what made people love it to begin with.
Really? It seemed quite respectful to me. It literally takes the base plot of the original show and only wraps it in a political coding to add a shade of real.
So on the top of the political and the realness and the crap like that, by coding it, I do agree. They code it in the same way that I, as a 5-year-old, would coat the fuck out of my pancakes with maple syrup.
Hey,
my God,
that's a
dude,
beautiful way to eat your pancakes. What are you talking about? Don't you?
I keep telling you, this motherfucker is like, bring Halo back.
Did he not think when he said that? Really, back.
What they're doing or what made people love it to begin with.
Let me see if you guys are thinking the same thing.
It literally takes the base plot of the original show and only wraps it in a political coding to add a shade of real.
So on the top of the political and the realness and the crap like that, by coding it, I do agree. They code it in the same way that I, as a 5-year-old, would coat the fuck out of my pancakes with maple syrup.
See, anybody else thinking the same thing I am?
You don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, see if you were Professor Otaku, I would have ran with that statement and roasted the living fuck out of it. While me stating this, I guess you can say I'm still doing it, but what I'm saying is I'm not doing it. You don't know how I'd word it, what shit I'd throw at the wall, or anything other than vague basics, because again, you don't strike me as the type of douchebag as CJ. But if I wanted to, I could have made a very absurd joke about you saying that it's the same way a 5-year-old coats my pancakes. I could have took that and ran with it, but see, I'm not. See, am I the bully here? Or
but you are a big bully. You're a big bully.
I'm just throwing around satirical jokes. If you were Professor Otaku, yeah, I would have made some pretty vile shit with that, but you're not. You're just some kid who got pissy Black Sun approached something you didn't like, and I deconstructed your arguments and made fun of you for it.
To the point where you kind of almost can't see what's underneath, because I guess to get down what my main problem with Black Sun is, because I guess this is where it's kind of becoming relevant, is that as much as it claims to be a remake, reboot, reimagine, whatever you want to call it, of Kamen Rider Black, the story really has nothing to do with what the original was trying to accomplish. Sure, the villains are called Golgo. Sure, a lot of the main characters share the main character names with the original show. Sure, the Kamen Riders are called Black Sun and Shadow Moon. But that's about it. In terms of motivation and how everyone behaves, they're completely different from what they were portrayed as in the TV show. And again, because so much of the story focused on this whole political thriller angle, which I should say isn't a bad idea for a Kamen Rider series, it actually sounds kind of cool, but it's, in my opinion at least, I don't think it's a good fit for Black Sun. Just like how, at least according to this guy, I guess my ass would be a good fit for Giant Black Man, but what does he know?
No.
I think the issue here is that
he
he tries to say that it's not a fit for Black Sun, but doesn't explain it, and in fact kind of makes this point worse because he literally says, sure, there's this, and that. I just don't believe that. It really feels like he doesn't have a point, and he really just didn't like the series, and now he's really just backpedaling because now he realized that he's going to have to actually make a point. Because, like, to a layman who isn't, like, super familiar with anything Toku related, he just made the point that, yeah, it has all the aspects of Black Sun, but you just don't feel that way, and that can be dismissed as just, oh, that's your opinion, and therefore you haven't convinced anyone of your original point.
Exactly.
So I would say that's like one big issue with, like, with the argument he's trying to create here.
Yeah, like the original, like the thing is, the original Black was a very simple show, so it was easy to keep all those intact and add more to it. I don't know what this guy's on about. He's just mad about the direction it takes.
To the property, it literally redoes shots with the base plot being
redoing shots doesn't mean it's a faithful adaptation. To give a good example of this, the Fistful of Dollars cowboy movie starring Clint Eastwood got a lot of flack for being an almost shot-for-shot remake of the samurai film Yojimbo. So just pause.
Fistful of Dollars isn't a remake of Yojimbo, though. It is an adaptation, one could say. A remake and an adaptation are two different things. I mean, like, people use them interchangeably. However, the fact is, if someone wanted to remake Yojimbo, then they would have to use the same setting, same characters, and the same plot. And although Fistful of Dollars does very similar things with it, there is enough difference that therefore it is not a remake. And arguably, it is not an adaptation. It is a very, in the most legally sense of the word, it is its own thing, just very, very similar.
Yeah, and also, I'm going to point this out, he kind of countered his own argument because he was saying redoing shots doesn't make something faithful, but then he goes on to say A Fistful of Dollars was redoes shots and it was too much like the original. Anyone else getting how that makes no sense?
I can see it, but we did pause him halfway, so for the audience's sake, let's see what else he says and see if...
At best, it's just
Yo, we're all talking about, and I'm looking at my 4K right now.
Back up just a little bit, because we just talked over what he just said. Just a tiny bit.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Fistful of Dollars cowboy movie starring Clint Eastwood got a lot of flack for being an almost shot-for-shot remake of the samurai film Yojimbo. So just redoing shots that the original did doesn't itself make it a faithful reboot. At best, it's just some really shallow level fan service. You know what I mean? You know,
but that's not, again, what's it called? The point, the example you make does not fit your point where someone could do shot for shot and therefore it is fan fiction. Again, Yojimbo and Fistful of Dollars are not Fistful of Dollars isn't a remake or adaptation of Yojimbo. It is a film that draws a lot from it, but there are differences to those films. Exactly.
And like I said,
like, you need to take these things within context. Like, again, because I'm here, the fact that Godzilla 98 has a shipping attack at the start of its film, people could say, oh, that's a reference to Gojira, when in reality, the context behind those scenes are two very different things, even though we could say that that there are similarities. The context matters, and the context for Black Sun also matters too.
Exactly. Like, here's the thing: redoing shots indeed fall under being faithful to the original because in said shots they're remaking a particular scene. The context is similar. Like when Shadow Moon took over Gorgon to become the Century King, it led up to him battling Belgenia, or the clip I shown Kotaro taking Nobuhiko's last breath and then basically making up before he dies. Kujita coming in to treat Kotaro in his weakened state for him to face his old friend Nobuhiko. These are all connected to the core narrative of the story. The coding basically just took the simplistic narrative of the original Black and made some tweaks, like removing the sisters, then coded it with something more complex where he's still out to take down Gorgom and his old friend Nobuhiko after turning, in nerd language, to the dark side.
Luke, I am your father.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying here?
I'm your cousin's brother's sister's roommate. I know the line's wrong there, but what does that make us? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying here?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, in the context of Black Sun, the scenes do matter. The context is exactly the fucking same, just with some tweaks.
Deeper than that, in my opinion. I don't think it does.
Intact.
Taking the simple but effective story of a dude in a bug costume fighting against the evils of mutant cyborgs in order to save the world and turning it into a story about the evils of racial prejudice is just the kind of stupid I would expect from modern Hollywood and not a Kamen Rider story.
Dude, are you fucking crying? I love Kamen Rider, but it's literally just a TV show. Chill.
So, I mean, that's what it was advertised, right? Kamen Rider Black Sun.
Okay, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. I was simply making fun of the fact when you took that moment to gasp.
Wait, let him cook first. So I just want to hear the rest of the
take on the original Kamen Rider Black, which in itself had some pretty dark and adult themes, at least for a TV show. And notice how he doesn't actually address my problem here. Instead of giving reasons how the show.
Oh wait, pause. Was that there the entire time? Was that pause there, or did the video just skip?
It was
because
there.
That's like this. That's so weird.
Yeah, it was there.
Keep going.
Okay.
Be faithful to the source material. He again just tries to disagree with me and make me look bad just by insulting me. Basically, I'm noticing a pattern here. Is what I'm saying.
Well, here's the thing. When I'm taking those moments just to insult you, it's because you generally repeat the same point multiple times.
It seems like you're trying to insult me. Well, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that when I went on about him crying, it's because he said evils of racial prejudice, and he was gasping. It sounded like he was crying. That's why I took that jab there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. I do point out in the video multiple times why he's wrong. I just follow it up or begin it with bullshit. I think his issue here is he's too caught up on the comedic insults to really take into account what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got someone in the comments. So
virtual hug.
Oh, Mikan. Hi, sweetie. And would you know what that Gojin actually has a girl who wants to fuck him, unlike this guy. Oh, Matt said, do you guys mind if I join the podcast? Of course. More people to come in and roast this soy lord, the better. I'll send it to you. Okay. Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute. Sorry, it's taking some time. Okay. I'll post it in... I'm not going to post it in the chat because I don't want some random people joining it. The point of the Discord is to... is to get... we're friends. That's the point of the podcast. So... Okay. Just sent you the link, Matt. If you're still watching Matt, I just sent you the link.
Reimagining. If you want that original story with a less complex narrative and more family-friendly nature, it still exists. You talk like the story isn't the same. While it's no longer a cyborg, the core aspects are still there.
So don't I say at the end of my video that you're better off watching the original? So I am acknowledging the original exists. In fact, I'm telling you to watch the original.
That has nothing to do with my point. The point I'm making is he's complaining about there being another version of the story, like it erases that original from existing. Not every remake needs to be overly accurate, like King Kong. This is a reimagining. A reimagining is supposed to coat something, or do a what-if situation like Amazon's.
Yeah, also, Amazon's was also a remake of another series, right? Or am I wrong?
Exactly, and Amazon's technically, as I stated in the video, is less faithful to the original. Don't get me wrong, I love Amazon's, but it's less recognizable of what the original Amazon was than what Black Sun is, other than the typical gory action and such. But the story in Amazon and Amazon's are very different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Matt's here. Hello, Matt.
Also, I don't really care much about the political messaging of Black Sun. I just came here looking for an ultra-violent, gory tokusatsu and left completely satisfied.
Exactly. Sad Boy Requiem said, to be honest, I do see some parallels with Black Panthers, but I think that's mostly an aesthetic choice that connects with the themes. Kind of like how Anno uses Christian symbolism with Ava. Exactly. Like, I'm in my video when I didn't see the parallels. Yeah, that's an L on my part, but that's the thing. It doesn't take away with what I was saying, considering Gorgom are fucking bad.
Yeah, they're the bad guys.
Exactly.
Well, some people that because something Orange Man bad, something even though Gorgom is clearly kind of sort of maybe an anti-Trump allegory.
And Gorgom is more. When it comes to Gorgom, they're interesting. Gorgom is more so a mix of the old left on how they became pretty much like, you know how Shadow Moon comes in the show and basically coops the entire corporation and makes it its own. The original members of Gorgom represents how they originally meant well, like the old school left, but then these new people came in and basically took over the movement and made it about supremacy. And the politicians...
Tossers.
Yeah, and the politicians that advocate for equality.
So basically the old left versus the new left. Got it.
Yeah, and then you have the alt-right movements and stuff like that. Basically, as I stated in my video, you have the crazy right, the crazy left, the politicians that try catering to the left, but deep down but behind the scenes are doing terrible shit. And you got the people of reason being the classical liberals, which is the old members of Gorgom. And Sad Boy Requiem said, radicalism is bad no matter the intention. Ends don't justify means. Exactly.
You're fucking right.
Well said.
Yeah, that's very true.
Fucking thank you. The show's anti-radicalism. I still don't know how some people cannot get behind that.
Because a lot of people are radicals.
Because our society is run by radicals.
Not to mention the fact that it just whenever there's radicalism, it just encourages tribalism. Tribalism helps the news cycle keep going.
Exactly. Oh, I'm gonna say right here, the only cool far leftist is Shadow Moon.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every far leftist thinks they're Shadow Moon.
Yeah, exactly. They think they're a Shad.
Because Shadow Moon is basically looks like cross a Terminator with a grasshopper.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe I'll get him to bed and he hasn't gotten there yet. We'll see.
It just changes something to be more like Amazon's and adds to the story. It sounds more to me like you're just mad it exists. Also, if you compare this to Hollywood, you really haven't been thinking critically about this show, and the whole point is everyone is fucking bad.
Everyone is bad? I mean, even Kotaro, even Aoi, who has a lot of problems with how her character was handled.
Okay, I'll say this here.
That's a pedantic straw man he's making right there, because
what I'm saying
if he was speaking in good faith, he would clearly know what you're saying. And I think you go on to explain it in your video what you mean by that too.
Yeah, right after this, I go into the political theme, so he's straw manning here.
Mm-hmm.
A bad person for trying to find equality with these two different people? Or Kotaro, who's trying to stop all of Goku's bullshit by killing Creation King? Sure, he waited like 50 fucking years to actually do anything after he killed the first time, but still, I would hardly call him the bad guy in this situation.
My review here. As I said, everything I needed there. What I like about this reimagining is they took advantage of the iconic rivalry between Friends, the original Black had, but built from the ground up through a culture war environment to add weight of realism and thought-provoking overtone.
So, real quick, just because something's going for a more realistic tone doesn't make it better.
Okay,
sure.
See, that's straw manning too.
That's not what you were saying at all.
Yeah, like no shit, Sherlock. You're out here saying I'm missing the point when I brought that up to state how it's the base story of the original show, but done through a different lens. My point to you is you're raging over the series going for a realistic tone. The very thing you're accusing me of. Only the tables turned.
Yeah, not to mention Black Sun isn't even siding with either the far left or the far right. It's more a centrist work.
Exactly. Everyone is fucking bad at it. And in terms of politics, do I have to word that out? Do I have to dumb it down for you?
You have to dumb it down.
I think you have to go so dumbed down that he's basically below kindergarten level, like full-blown toddler.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, I probably could talk to my cat smarter than I'm talking to him. Oh god.
I could talk to my dog smarter than this douche.
Exactly. Well, let's get back.
Maybe it can, maybe it doesn't. It's just a creative choice. It's not inherently better or worse if it's going for a more realistic tone. And despite the goofy nature of 70s era Kamen Rider, because modern Kamen Rider sure as hell isn't goofy. I thought the tension between Kotaro and his brother was pretty realistic. I mean, he's trying to save his brother, and he tragically fails. By the time he sees him again, he's already become Shadow Moon, and that's kind of the whole drama of the thing, is the fact that he's forced to defeat this person who was at one time his brother. He even shows shades of that from time to time, but in order to save the world, he has to do it. Whereas the whole thing between Black Sun and Shadow Moon in the Black Sun show is kind of ill-defined. So again, he mentioned they're trying to put some Amazons into it, and that I agree. They put a lot of Amazons into the show, to the point where I wonder if this began as like a season 3 of Amazons, at least maybe like a really early form scripting. They're trying to do the whole thing where the two main writers are clashing over opposing ideologies, which is true. But I think the problem...
See, that adds to my point. Yeah, they decided to take the basics of the original show and made it where they were opposing over differing ideologies. How does Black's original story not work in a culture war setting? I don't see how it's a problem here.
Not to mention the fact that if he's trying to say it probably started out as like a season 3 of Amazons, it kind of does show that all of the Modern Rider remakes were kind of doing what Amazons was doing. So I'm not sure why he was so surprised when the show was the way it was.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Furthermore, if I have to add something, if this show really was woke, it'd be full blown Captain Marvel.
Exactly, and I actually use Captain Marvel as an example of poorly done political messaging in my video. And Unashu said,
"Yeah, not to mention some dingbat totally argued with me on what part do you think is political about Captain Marvel?" And all I just said was girl boss, and he just kept harassing me, and kept asking me, what is your real reason? I kept saying Captain Marvel is a girl boss character they're pushing onto cinema in order to emasculate movie characters and the fucking audience.
I think that deleted scene I showed in my video of her basically like rag shit in his video. Huh?
Yeah, assaulting a guy and then taking his bike because it's so
bad.
Yeah,
because that's totally what a strong, independent woman would do.
Truly, that's what a hero would do, of course.
Yeah. Unashu said, "Good luck, honey. Have fun. I will play a game. Gotta reach higher rank. Good luck, sweetie." Sad Boy Requiem said,
Simp.
Sad Boy Requiem said, "Him and I think a lot of Western audiences see the show in a Western political view, which is why some conclude it's woke on the surface level. I argue the show is a political deconstruction." Well said.
Very well said.
And Italy said, I can't pronounce your name. I'm fucking sorry. Woke at this point is just a right-wing buzzword. I hate to say it, but I'm starting to agree. Like, I don't like actual woke stuff, but when you're just behaving like the social justice warriors you were supposed to oppose, I want nothing to do with you. That's the thing.
Yeah, good grief. I mean, as much as I fucking hate the woke, and I'm kind of slightly right-leaning with heavy libertarian views, but good God, this is so on the nose. It's not even funny.
And when you got characters, I'll get onto this when he gets onto the point, but I'm looking forward to deconstructing this one.
I have with this rivalry in particular is that while
Speak up, Sonny!
Shadow Moon's intentions are pretty well defined. He wants to take over Golgum so the Kaijins can rule as the superior race, which I'm not going to get into the symbolism there.
Most
Kotaro
superior race.
does want to defeat the Kaijin because he thinks the world is better off for it.
Do it, you coward!
Because Kotaro isn't as nearly defined as a character as Shadow Moon is.
Will you speak up, you little son of a bitch? I'm old as fuck, and my hair's going the way of going the way of John McCain.
Doesn't know what his motivation is until near the end of the show, or what he really wants. That's part of the reason why he's fighting, is to discover that.
Yeah, that's the point. Like, the Kotaro throughout the show is supposed to be conflicted about where he stands. Like, in the past, he ended up losing trust because it turned out that Gorgom was actually scummy, and then once he left Gorgom, he ended up leaving some past demons behind as he left Shadow Moon to basically become Gorgom's prisoner, and then he basically just stuck around in his life as an old man, taking up jobs and things like it. And at the end, thanks to hanging out with someone like Odie, which is the point, because being with her and doing all this stuff ended up catching his motivation to grow and actually fight against the corporation, even if it would be the death of him.
Simp.
Kotaro only really has that motivation because a girl kissed him one time and told him as much. A girl who may or may not.
Someone's jealous that Kotaro actually got kissed by a girl. Meanwhile, this guy's only getting the lifts, or only getting men.
What zero pussy does to a motherfucker.
Yep. Only pussy this guy has is his tight little boy pussy.
Ew!
Not have been a double agent to begin with, which, oh boy, that's a plot point that never got fully developed.
Wait, one minute.
Omega in season 1 of Amazons doesn't know what his motivation is until near the end of the show, or what he really wants. That's part of the reason why he's fighting, is to discover that. Where Kotaro only really has that motivation because a girl kissed him one time and told him as much. A girl who may or may not have been a double agent to begin with, which, oh boy, that's a plot point that never got fully developed, which is wonderful.
Okay. Whether or not the possibilities of what she could have been based on paranoia, the truth is, in the show, she builds trust with Kotaro and Nobuhiko. She builds trust with Kotaro and Nobuhiko as people, and her point of view begins to rub off on both of them. Is it risky taking that as face value? Sure. But by that logic, you should trust nobody in real life based on how possibly they could have a knife in your back, or in your case, a dick in your ass. Also, whether or not she was a spy, that was left intentionally ambiguous to let the viewers come to their own conclusions. That's why one moment you got Donami claiming her to be such to freak Nobuhiko out, but then you've got the ending with all this positive stuff about equality of Kotaro basically telling Nobuhiko, which that thing from Donami is one of the reasons why Nobuhiko went and wanted to become the Creation King. But that at the end, Kotaro was basically telling Nobuhiko that she wouldn't want this, and was going on all this positive memories they had together. It was supposed to be left ambiguous so you could be in their shoes of not knowing what she was. It was
just like a Dark Souls game.
Yeah, you were supposed to relate to them. Some things aren't meant to be spelled out for the viewer, just like Kotaro and Nobuhiko. We're supposed to be uncertain whether or not their entire way of life has become pointless, since she was the one who set their mission to kill the Creation King.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so should I go to next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get what they're going for. I just don't think it's worked as well as they were hoping for, which is another big disappointment I have for the show.
But why? Why doesn't it go as well as you thought it did? That's the important thing, and like the thing that where at least Joey had issue with was the fact that you're not explaining why you don't really have it. You don't like this.
Exactly.
That separates its themes from the ones Amazon provided. Basically, what Amazon aimed for was showing the perspective for both sides. They have their well-meanings, but due to the convoluted nature of politics, there's an argument to be made for most things, thus exploring the darker aspects on how they can get carried away. What Black Sun goes for is similar.
What politics? What political stuff is there in Amazons?
Okay, at this point, we're basically going off Death of the Author.
Wait. He just said what politics, but then he complained about essentially baiting race war in Black Sun and how that's like something Hollywood would do. Therefore,
he was referring to Amazons in this case.
Oh, in that case. Okay.
Okay, at this point, we're basically going off Death of the Author, since there's no official word I know of to confirm or deny my perspective, but here we go. Basically, Haruka is very conflicted on his worldview. On one hand, the Amazons feed on beings, and the ones who haven't awoken have shown to lose it many times, dealing with some Amazons even telling him he's naive. But at the same time, he himself is an Amazon, and the way he sees it, there's the possibility to stop them from awakening if kept from feeding on the human race. Jin, on the other hand, has a goal to protect all of humanity, even killing his Amazon-turned-lover to keep that moral alive. But to keep that safety, he sees the Amazons as too dangerous to keep alive, as even their beloved Mamoru broke by feasting on human flesh. Neither of them are evil, both have heroic goals, but can go at the expense of others. It's literally their worldview. That's the thing. That is subtle handling. Now, again, if the creator said that, oh, that wasn't what I was going for, sure, but there's nothing to really deny that perspective. From the way I see it, Amazons kind of goes on about the topic of opposing ideologies, but not being evil at the end of the day.
Yeah. So
does this guy hate like all media then? Because like it has like some kind of message, some kind of themes on it, political, apolitical, or shit, how shit goes in life or whatever.
Exactly. Sosa Potence 300 said, good title, lol, thank you. Sad Boy Requiem said, do y'all think the show is grim dark? I mean, that the end of the day, nothing really changes besides people in the cabinet. Also, what y'all think about Audi making a terrorist organization? I think I actually dived into that in my video, and I'm kind of interested in it because it basically shows that at the end of Black Sun, Kotaro, the one who is pretty much her father figure, he basically passed the torch onto her, and after passing the torch onto her, he basically told him to kill her since he was the creation king at that point. And he still had a bit of humanity left. So she set that organization up to finish basically the rest of Orgom since the creation king is gone. So there's going to be no more Kaijin. But Gorgom is still a thing. So basically she has to raise her own army, basically how Kotaro trained her and Nobuhiko trained his army. So yeah, I'm interested in that.
Yeah, I'm very interested in Aoi becoming the next Kamen Rider Black because, good lord,
exactly.
It's been a while since we had a female Kamen Rider.
Yeah, I'm actually completely...
Not to mention, she's
a cow.
Okay. Now, again, Jin on the other... Now, 1 minute. He said, Amazons are dangerous, Kaijin. Sad Boy Requiem also said, Amazons are dangerous. Kaijin can be dangerous, but we never really hear anything about Kaijin killing people. Exactly.
Learn the way we got two rivals around a deeper meaning, but goes to a classical liberal point of view. By that, I mean we have the extreme right on the streets beating up minorities and advocating for their extermination just for being different.
So he's pointing out the parallels too, right? What this is clearly going for. And again, that's the problem. They're trying to push something into this supposed remake of Kamen Rider Black that wasn't in there to begin with. And no, in case I haven't made clear enough, I don't think it does a good job of complementing the source material. I think it's just other thing attached to it.
Why? A reimagining is taking a concept and asking yourself, hey, this is cool, but imagine if they did this. It's about giving the artist creative freedom and judging them based on their merits. You do make some counter-arguments in this response, but you didn't do that in your original video. That's why I'm criticizing it. But at this point, again, just boils down to your preference, and frankly, you shouldn't be reviewing it. It's like if someone enjoys rom-coms but hates horror movies. Should they be allowed to review stories like Evil Dead or simply be like, okay, this isn't for me, and move on?
No, they should be gatekept, like animals. Yeah.
Okay.
Without really improving it in any way, shape, or form.
The radical left who aims to turn the tables by making the Kaijin the leading class in the genocide.
See, this is the problem I also have with the symbolism they're going for here. Is that, as much as I hate to say it, the human activists are kind of right. Going back to the whole adding stuff from Amazon.
That's racist.
The Kaijin eat people. The Kaijin eat human beings. That's what what's that blue gel stuff they call heaven? That's what the heaven's made out of. It's made out of people. They say that at some point in the show. So it's not as obvious as it is in Amazons. It is the same deal where the monsters are eating the humans. And it's kind of hard for two different peoples to live in harmony when one of them has to live off the other to live.
Humanity still...
Okay, first of all, that doesn't go against my point of Shadow Moon being a radical leftist. He literally just goes, oh, no, and he doesn't... did he say anything that debunked that statement? Anything that's going over my retarded brain?
I mean, outside of it just kind of being smooth. So
exactly.
Kind of going over it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you got an old school political party that was there to bring equality to humans and kaijin, people naturally came to that party to fight for what's right, only for the politicians to make them do shitty things for pretty much far-right purposes to get their equality. Then Shadow Moon comes in and dethrones that politician and makes it about eradicating the human race. He literally spells it out for them as he comes in and tells Kotaro and says that he basically comes in and tells Kotaro this. He says that kaijin have been taking out weaker species. Humans have been taking out weaker species to remain at the top for years. Maybe we should learn from them. Doesn't that sound like a crazy fucking leftist?
We are the infection.
That sounds like Professor Otaku's logic. Which, by the way, we really should dunk on him afterwards.
I do have another video I'm planning to work on about him at some point. So yeah.
Better be about the bubblegum crisis piss take, because good lord, that was just bad.
I haven't seen Bubblegum Crisis, so I can't really give a proper deconstruction. The same way with Synthetic Man's Dead Space take, I can't really deconstruct his Dead Space take, because while he says some really dumb shit, I could deconstruct the obvious stuff about gender-free bathrooms being woke and stuff, but other things he possibly says about Dead Space, I probably cannot do it justice the same way someone like Mischief or Griffin Gaming or the Act Man could. I still want to play the older games. But the video I am planning to work on is this one's calling people who like villains weirdos.
Oh, that retarded shiza. But again, Joey, watch Bubblegum Crisis. That's the moral of today's story. Watch Bubblegum Crisis.
I will at some point, though. I keep thinking you're going to keep telling me to watch fucking Bubble Guppies.
But what?
Oh god, it's some very little kid cartoon that my little brother used to watch when he was younger. Probably the best you don't know.
Oh my god, I can't believe you took that as. Dude, I meant Bubblegum Crisis. Basically 80s cyberpunk.
Yeah, I'll check it out at some point.
Cyberpunk.
I'll check it out at some point. Cody Bretsch said, I just want to say that his comments about remake and reimagining being two titles with no distinctions is complete bullshit. Rob Zombie's Halloween is a remake. Godzilla 98 is a reimagining. Think. Exactly. A reimagining is all about what if. It could either be turning the tables on something, deconstructing something, or it could be adding something like this or Shin Godzilla. It's not that difficult to grasp.
Damn right.
But yeah.
Segregating them as a result. The corrupt government who tries to appeal to the progressive side, but behind the scenes are doing shady crap for their own benefit. And the group of reason of the original members of Gorgon wanting actual equality between the groups where humans and kaijin can live in harmony.
And before all you fanboys start typing away in the comment section about how wrong I am, do not forget, the core appeal of tokusatsu, whether it's Kamen Rider, G.N.O, to freaking Power Rangers, has always been this. Dudes in goofy costumes beating the crap out of each other.
Speak for yourself. Do you know how this technique started? Literally, it's
rules for thee, not for me.
With Gogeta, and even Kamen Rider stepped away from that simplicity at one
pretty much.
Adaptations. Do you realize you're indirectly disrespecting this stuff? Yeah, the original Black had aged, but for its time, what they brought to television was pretty dang impressive considering.
But I'm not wrong. That's what Toku's always been about. Dudes in goofy suits stomping up models of Tokyo and beating the crap out of each other. That's why people got into it to begin with.
No, that's not why people have always gotten into it.
No. Dude, that is not why people watch tokusatsu. Good.
People came to the original Gojira back in the day, and they cried for how accurate it portrayed how Japan experienced the nuclear bombing.
Oh yeah, I mean,
for crying out loud, Gojira's skin is based off of. Sorry.
Good. Finish, Aaron.
Gojira is fucking his skin. I guess you could say in general for Godzilla, his skin is based off of the radioactive burns from those people who suffered the bombings.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Like that's what makes Godzilla so friggin' horrifying. Like,
or the fact that even after that we had like the Mysterians, which is a little further down the line, but it's literally like, oh, what would happen if we actually did kill ourselves off in a nuclear holocaust, and like what would happen if those kinds of people actually came to our planet, and like so that serves as a warning. Atragon is literally about like kind of letting go of the past and like dealing with the Imperial Japanese history. Like there's a lot of deep stuff in Toku, and Toku is not just for
And
like
people
showing
wanna say-
shenanigans.
and
Toku is a
people-
very diverse
Yeah, like
There are
first things
reasons
first,
for
if you want the
things.
definition on a wider sense, I'd say check out my video, Is Tokusatsu Really for Kids? Or Marco Satsu's Is This Toku? If you want something more condensed and solely on the topic. But calling them goofy implies they're so bad it's good, or just silly design, while in many ways
Yeah.
they're very smooth. Like take
Yeah, and
Gamera, for example, or the 90s Gamera, and even Gamera the Brave, or a lot of the Godzilla suits. A lot of those look fucking good with lots of deep emotion and such.
Yeah, not to mention a lot of people be player hating on Japan for claiming they never apologized for World War II, when I've pretty much seen them make apologizing for their actions in World War II into a well-refined art form. Like some of them even went like this one scene in Yakuza Like a Dragon when Ichiban was apologizing to everyone in the most hilarious fashion possible.
Yeah. I still can't pronounce your name. I am sorry again, but he says, like Godzilla is one of the most political franchises to ever be political. Yeah, that's how Godzilla started, and it's one of those that it does politics better than most things too.
I mean, from
Damn right. I mean,
from originally it started with nukes to about the environment to about was GMK about how they were trying to forget about World War II or something?
Yeah, no, forgetting about
Yeah,
World War II, yeah.
Yeah, it's not politics and media I have a problem with. It's the ham-fisted bullshit political messaging in the media that I have a problem with.
Or propaganda just in general.
Yeah.
Bingo!
Look, I love this shit as much as any other Toku fan out there, but let's not pretend this stuff is high art, at least not most of the time, okay? And I'm not saying Tokusatsu...
It is, you heathen!
Like the idea, I think anyone who says like, "Oh, this stuff isn't high art," people probably don't even like who say something isn't high art probably don't consume much high art in general. Like
exactly,
honestly.
like they probably watch a lot of. They generally probably watch a lot of Michael Bay movies or some shit.
Like I like you talk about high art isn't like
that or probably
like Bach for music or like the Odyssey for.
He's the type of guy who would watch the
like I doubt. Most of these people who say that line unironically actually consume like a lot of quote unquote high art media.
Yeah,
it just comes off as like a way to be.
Yeah, and those are the same types of dipshits that decry anime as too childish. Never mind. Someone chucked a copy of Berserk, Mobile Suit Gundam, Armor Trooper Votoms. It all crushed their dumb faces.
And in terms of whether or not it's high art, that depends on the work we're looking at, just like any technique in any genre. And let's say it's all goofy by design even. You're the one who argued that realism doesn't equal better, which I agree with, but you're now contradicting that by saying something even more simple and less serious can't be high art based on the checklist they carry. Also, the way you bring in the core appeal of it, you act like it can't even have a massive focus on something else, almost like the deeper aspects have to be subtle, but that's not how it works with everything. With the original Black, sure, but someone can give a different version on an older story. That's the purpose of a reimagining, especially reimagining a TV show that was aimed at a younger crowd for a modern adult demographic on a streaming service. You guys got anything else to say?
No, just overall, I always take umbrage with when someone says something stupid like Toku isn't high art. Like I'm sorry, you probably don't want like actually consume any high art yourself, or anything you do it's probably for like school projects and the like. Like it's always such an easy point that can be dismissed extremely simply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not even halfway through this video. My God.
Yeah.
And we're like an hour in.
Oh,
easy, kind of fun, and still tell a great
I
story.
should have brought some popcorn, dude.
Yep.
Black Sun strayed too far from that direction, and that's one of the problems I have with it. It tries too hard to be one thing.
Hell, I probably should have brought a soda with me.
Okay, he says that Amazon strayed too far from that. I mean, so did Amazon's, but again, he basically says that Black Sun strayed too far from the more goofy aspects, while other dark shows like the original Black and Guy mix dark serious and goofy aspects because, well, it's superhero. But here's the thing. That's just because it's a reimagining. Something the family-friendly shows do, like Gaim, is be goofy, yet also super dark. And that's one of its appeals, as it manages to be both. And Gaim is a masterpiece for how it meshes them together. But Black Sun's point was to bring Black's core plot. 1 minute. Was to bring Black's core plot into realistic settings. So obviously it was going to stray away from that. And if you don't like the concept, that's fine, but don't do a review criticizing the vision for existing if you don't want to receive criticism yourself.
The amount they had to make, which indeed has its appeal. It's nice being able to witness these artists do the best they can with their limited budgets and schedules for a TV show that has something new each episode.
This has nothing to do about my problems with Black Sun.
Well,
Yeah.
no, never mind. We'll keep going. I think he's gonna say something else. I remember.
Okay, well, I have something I'm gonna say. So I was saying how these guys were given limited time and resources and did the very best they could with them. At this point, I don't know if he just can't accept something he worded poorly or genuinely doesn't know what I'm saying somehow.
Well, what's it called? Essentially, since you have the time here, rephrase your point so that everyone can understand what you're saying.
Okay, so basically, when it comes to Black Sun, he was saying what I was stating has nothing to do with his point, but he was going on about saying that Tokusatsu's core appeal is men in goofy costumes beating the crap out of each other. And I said,
that's the point.
And I said in my video,
excuse me. I'm sorry, but Kamen Rider Black's suit design goofy. I'm sorry. What? Huh?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and basically I said basically what I was saying in response to that is Tokusatsu, the appeal of seeing the effects is basically watching these artists put their all with the limited budget and resources they're giving. I'm not gonna call. I'm not gonna call.
That's pretty much why I love Tokusatsu a lot, because of all the hard work and dedication the crew did.
Yeah, like I don't think it's fair to call them goofy when the special effects artists did what they could at the time and budget they've had.
And guess what? They still look leaps and bounds better than the crap we got today.
But yeah. The thing that's funny is that people always, like, non-fans and fans always, like, harp on the suits being goofy or like, oh, I could totally see the wires, but it's also like, the fact is that one, the Japanese economy was not kind to the movie industry or the TV industry either. So it wasn't that they made these on purpose to be goofy. That just so happened to be the nature of the beast for the country. And the idea that, like, again, it feeds into this like weird fan perspective nowadays that like people only like watching Toku in this like post-ironic sort of way where it's like, oh, I know it's stupid. I'm just watching it because it's stupid rather than like actually appreciating the art for what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, and people wonder why like a lot of other people don't like being around those kinds of fans. It's because of that sentiment where it's just like, it doesn't engender me or doesn't engender a lot of people to have these conversations with other fans. Like, I'd rather just watch what I like by myself and enjoy the craft in that sense than be around another quote unquote fan and essentially their point being like, oh wow, did you see how goofy and silly those things are? Oh, those Japanese with their suits.
It's kind of racist.
And might I add, the special effects the Japanese did back then are quite a ways better than what we got now. I mean, let me
look at Marvel.
Let me take for example, Zerum. The special effects versus, I don't know, what would be a better example coming out today? I don't watch many movies these days, so someone help me out there.
Any Disney movie, honestly.
Yes, Disney movies look like shit.
Well, yeah, that's like comparing my Taco Bell. Yeah, that's kind of me. The whole Arby's stool analogy I use often for when something is better than Disney.
Yeah, it's just overall a very like when he said, it just baffles me that he said this has nothing to do with my point. It's like, boy, don't act like you weren't just calling the costumes goofy. I was just adding up to my argument that it's the very best they could have done for a TV show at that time.
Yeah. Continuing on.
I know there's all the different themes and context of each different series, yada yada yada. I get that, but did we really need to turn Gorgum into the frickin' Black Panthers? And no, not the Marvel kind.
Are you really making a comparison to that? Again, Gorgum isn't portrayed to be.
Yes, I am. Because this entire conflict of the story is based on an issue between two races, and I'm using the actual term race here, not the term most people use it, because we have the humans and we have the Kaijin, and Gorgum is a militant activist group within the Kaijin.
And guess what? Gorgum are the fucking bad guys. Woo! Imagine that. A far leftist organization. The bad guys in current fucking year.
Exactly.
Balloon.
Yep. Like, I'll admit, when I said, "Oh, are you really making that comparison?" I was smoking something when I stated that, because yeah, I could see the comparison, but still, they're bad. That's the thing. It's not trying to feed you far left propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
And Sad Boy Requiem said the costumes look better than some MCU extras. They look better than the entirety of the MCU. I'll go that far. Especially today. Oh my god.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, but again, my stool from an Arby's buffet.
But again, I still wouldn't have made it. If he would have elaborated on this point from the very beginning, I wouldn't have called him out for it. My problems with your review is you make a bunch of claims and either you don't dive into them enough, or you're just criticizing them for making story changes you didn't like. And again, that still doesn't contradict the statements I made about them basically being the Democratic Party mixed with Imperial Japan. But I guess the Black Panthers can have their place in there too.
Yeah, you'd think he'd be all for Kamen Rider Black Sun thrashing the shit out of Gorgum, because Gorgum is an evil leftist organization.
Yep.
They're enemies. Now, I'm not trying to... Now, obviously, I'm using these examples because I'm an American, and these are the examples that come to mind when talking about the issues between, in real life...
We're all Americans, goof.
Kamen Rider different races. God, this is getting tiresome. But that's what the allegory is clearly going for.
Doing what's right. They're here to show how politicians will say all this progressive crap to appeal to the new generation, but really are doing shitty things behind the scenes like Imperial Japan. The priests were meant to have intentions of getting equality, but still are doing bad things for the party to get that right. And eventually, some of them see that.
Back to my point, the fight scenes for a Kamen Rider series, I have to say, was kind of a letdown. Sure, it's a bit more on the violent side than you would see from anything from the TV series, but compared to something like the choreographers were really holding back.
I'm sorry, I just don't see how something that looks like how the fight scenes that look like something out of Mortal Kombat are a letdown. Like, I don't know about you, but I went away plenty satisfied with the blood and guts and ultra violence Black Sun provided for me.
I agree. Like, I was actually surprised. I was surprised by the first episode alone's gore. Like, that went extremely far. The show's rated 18+ for a reason.
Yeah.
It was literally TVMA versus a TV-14 show. Amazon's got pretty.
I mean, this ain't freaking Twilight, folks.
Yep.
Out of their stomach and pulled around till eventually ripping their head off with pure brute strength. A heart got ripped out in the final judgment, but due to the size of the Creation King, we get a closer look at the details of a similar fatality. What are you on about?
And I know they're going for the grittier, more realistic tone. And
Okay, that's kind of a fair point. I guess they are kind of the same metaphor.
Oh, holy shit! He acknowledged one of my arguments. You did it! You son of a bitch! You did it! Get Jeff Goldblum over here. Let's get the fucking beers. We need it. Oh my god, he fucking acknowledged one of my arguments. Holy shit!
Also, what's it called? For context, even in the original, Black Gorgum was looking for the supremacy of Kaijin. The only difference here is that essentially they add another layer to that organization instead of them being purely evil. There was a layer of existence.
Original Kamen Rider Black was evil for evil's sake. Kamen Rider Black Sun, we get a legit reason for why they're complete evil shitbag.
Mm-hmm. And also, not to mention the fact that it's less like the show doesn't really do much for us to go, well, the members of Gorgon who really want to exterminate all the humans, that, you know, they really have some good points. No, they're still very much villains. It's just that any good intention, like the path to hell was paved with good intentions, as the saying goes.
Oh yeah, yeah. The path to hell is always paved with good intentions.
Exactly. Anyway.
I think what it is just I think the gore in Amazon was probably more prominent than it was in Black Sun, which is like what I think I was going for. But yeah, I guess that I still believe in the thing that I'm just not a fan of how the fights were choreographed in the show. I think it could have been a step up in terms of the whole gore thing. I mean, I like the gore. I think it's cool. I think the elements the show takes from Amazons is probably my favorite parts of it. I think the point I was trying to get is I like the way Amazons did it better. I guess so. There's that.
Excuse me, but I disagree with that guy. I mean, I love Amazons. That being said, the gore in Amazons looks like motor oil.
It depends. Like in the first season, when they would use CGI on taking out the hordes, yeah, it definitely looks cheap. But you did have the practical gore did look pretty good, especially like in that scene I shown from The Last Judgment when he's ripping out Neo Alpha's heart. The practical stuff all looks incredible. But
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, the CGI, definitely. But in terms of Amazon versus Black Sun, in terms of gore, Black Sun definitely goes further. And I think that's intentional. Like, Toei seems to be wanting to up themselves and the edgy factor whenever they do a Rider thing. Like, first they made Shin Kamen Rider in the 90s, which reimagined the original Rider show as a body horror movie inspired by Cronenberg's The Fly with a American Werewolf in London-like transformation and gore. And then Amazon Season 1 went even gorier than that. Then Amazon Season 2 went gorier than Season 1. And then The Last Judgment went gorier than Season 2. And then we have Black Sun that went even gorier than that. So
I'm surprised that he didn't complain more about like the suits in Black Sun being closer to Shin's than the original series.
Exactly. That's see, you see that too? Yeah, thank you. Glad I'm not the only one that saw the Shin Kamen Rider comparisons.
Yeah, even what's it called? Even the suits in Amazons are more closer to the like original ones than Black Sun's is to its original suits.
Well, I think in Black Sun's case, as I described in my review, it's basically like if the people who made Shin Kamen Rider decided to do a Shin Kamen Rider Black.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I really dig about the design. They look edgy and
you know, you'd think Toei would be popping all the cylinders.
Yeah.
Rider kick and doesn't fucking
they'd be in my good graces.
Yeah.
They'd be in my good graces if they weren't so stingy with their franchises.
Yes.
And so frugal with their copyright takedown notices.
Violent for their younger crowd. Now you can make a gruesome Rider kick, but
Now,
oh, one minute.
Okay,
Let's
I'm
go back.
doing something wrong.
That's your preference. They aren't obligated to do that. This show has a bigger focus on gore anyway.
Yeah, I hear his point in the original video.
I think the point I was trying to get is I like the way Amazons did better, I guess. So there's that.
All that, but come on, man. This is tokusatsu. When someone does a rider kick and doesn't fucking explode into a billion pieces, you're doing something wrong.
That's your preference. They aren't obligated to do that. This show has a bigger focus on gore anyway, and stuff like explosions is to avoid getting overly violent for their younger crowd. Now you can make a gruesome Rider kick, but the use
Now, okay, I want to hear what Finch says first. Before I continue.
of it here on Shadow Moon was made to be a surprise. And Shadow Moon, do you really want him getting bitch made like that? Nice way to tone down the threat level.
I mean, considering the fact that the Rider kick is not only the signature attack of the Kamen Rider, and the fact that he actually uses the Rider kick near the end of his fight with Shadow Moon, and it's not the finisher. I mean, come on, man. That's a little disappointing. I mean, come on. It's the finishing move. It's supposed to finish off the opponent. But no, it's the Rider punch that does, which is I guess is also fine. But I don't know. I always thought the Rider kick.
Interesting thing about Tokusatsu is that they don't always rely on the big finisher attack to be the big finisher attack. They also find new and inventive ways to kill off the villain of the week.
It also be kind of annoying when like every time a Toku series has a villain, they finish them off with their special move. It is kind of nice sometimes when they don't just always use their finisher.
Yeah.
It's better. I would say personally, it's better writing in that case.
Yeah. Black had to use a little brain power to find out a monster's weakness and capitalize on that.
Yeah. And it wasn't even the finishing move in the original either. Whether or not you want to admit it, that fight was fairly faithful with only some tweaks added in between since they had more freedom given the fact that it's for adults. Okay.
So for the Rider to do the Rider kick, actually hit the enemy square on the chest and not have that be the finishing blow, I don't know. I thought it was kind of a letdown.
Well, there in the ending drama.
And well, yes, the final fight between Black Sun and Shadow Moon is definitely the best action piece in the show. That's really not saying much. It could have been a lot better. For one thing, the final encounter is just way too short.
Okay, how? How the fuck could it be a lot better? I mean, it looks like a biomechanical version of the old Rider suits.
Yeah, just with more violence.
Yeah, how do you get more badass than that? Jesus fucking Christ. What is his idea of badass look? What the fuck is his idea of badass exactly?
Well, I mean, he's not looking for that. He's looking for just goofy suits. I don't think he's looking for like badass, honestly.
The only ass.
So basically a shooby. Gotcha.
The only ass he's looking for is man ass.
Man. Single fight scene in any singular episode of Kamen Rider.
Whoa, slow down there, princess. Your pussy is getting in a twist, making you say a bunch of retarded shit.
Okay, I'll be honest with this statement here. I did seem a bit hostile when I stated that. I was trying to capture a bit of old 2016 like iDubbbz energy there, and yeah, I can kind of see like how someone would be like, yeah, this dude has a problem with me with this statement there, so I'll take this L on this part.
Well, considering that every other insult you've made, the fact that he's gonna say that one is hostile just seems weird.
That is true.
It literally starts at the 4-minute and some mark and ends at around 15 minutes, just like the original show. Yes, in the original, there's the end of episode 50 building up towards it, but in Black Sun, you had the prior episode where he absolutely slaughtered Kotaro. Yes, the episode is the length of 2, and there's moments of
That's not the scene I'm talking about. That's a different fight scene.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I'm just pointing out it had a similar build up to the battle in the original. I appreciate you pausing it and such for fair use reasons, but sometimes you just gotta let the sentence finish to fully get your point across. For example, I often don't pause you unless someone else is talking when you're still speaking. I give you a chance to finish that sentence and pause before you move on to the next. It's not that hard, dude.
Sure, it was a cool moment to see that Shadow Moon after finally getting his Kamen Rider transformation, which is also something that's not properly explained in the show, where that second transformation comes from and why it's distinct from the other Kaijin transformations. It was a good villain moment, and it definitely played a part into the build-up of the finale. But that's not what I'm talking. I'm talking the final fight scene from. I haven't rewatched Black Sun since I made that damn review, so I don't know if it's either the end of the second last episode or the beginning of the last episode. But I don't know. For all the tension they were building up for the point of the finale to be the Black Sun versus Shadow Moon fight, could have done a bit more. That's really what I'm saying.
Dialogue edited in between, but you got to remember this isn't targeting children, so there isn't even a necessity to have a fight every episode. I'm not belittling the original for primarily targeting kids.
I didn't say have a fight every episode. I'm talking specifically the final fight between Black Sun and Shadow Moon. I'm not talking the total fight time throughout the entire series between the two, because that happens.
I never said you did. I was pointing out since this show is aimed at an older crowd, there's not as much of an emphasis on the fight scenes.
There's plenty of conflict between the two throughout the show. That's fine.
This guy's really grasping at straws.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Because that's fucking stupid. And there's a lot of great entertainment targeting a younger crowd, with Black being one of them. But a big reason every episode of most Rider shows carry a fight in some form, while the adults can appreciate the every episode action and the deeper, darker elements added for them. Also, your other example is Revenge of the Sith, which is an entry to another franchise primarily aimed at kids. Just saying.
And I think the cause of that is the fact that
what's wrong with Star Wars being for kids?
You're missing the point.
What I'm getting here? What does anything to do with the final fight scene?
Story.
You're missing the point. What I'm getting at is children's media often throws together more action to keep children entertained. Yes, the dialogue scenes has enough going on to keep kids going, but without too much of it, they'll often get bored if they don't see their heroes and villains fighting it out.
Also, fun fact, Star Wars, although made specifically for kids, has more than enough material for adults to enjoy.
Well, Star Wars is not just for kids, but primarily aimed at kids. I think a lot of people tend to get that mixed up. Like, for example, most Kamen Rider stuff isn't made just for kids, but primarily. Marvel isn't just for kids, but it's primarily for kids. A lot of the biggest nerd stuff is primarily aimed at kids, and that's completely okay.
Yeah, that's perfectly okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting in touch with your inner child. That's pretty much how most of us mature that way.
I only get in touch with my inner child to smack them while I'm drunk.
Yeah. Fuck them kids.
Be a good sport and grab Zim another beer.
Okay.
Despite being 10 episodes long, each one.
Yeah, well, I think that was hilarious.
You're welcome.
But Zim said he's going to get a beer, correct?
No, I was purely for the joke. I also have my beer with me right now.
Okay. Probably best to get drunk on this shit.
Shit, I wish I had some alcohol with me right now. God damn, this guy's so stupid. I'm just gonna start making fun of him at this point. Well, I have been for this whole video.
Yes, Sad Boy Requiem, Star Wars can be political, but here's the thing. It can't be pandering to one side. It's if I may use an analogy, it's far better to attract flies with honey than with vinegar.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. The thing is, like, for example, Black Sun, I guess you could say, is using vinegar, but here's the thing. The only side that's going to scare off is radicals, because that's the only thing it stands against.
Thank God. We don't want them.
Sad Boy, yeah. Sad Boy Requiem said, headcanon when a monster blows up after a Dark Rider kick. It's because the Rider kick was so strong it makes the monster explodes on a molecular level. Holy shit, that's a good thing. So, like Fist of the North Star. That's pretty good.
That's you just described it in a more badass fashion than I ever could there, Sad Boy.
Yeah.
Wars being for kids. What's the problem here? What does anything to do with the final fight scene?
Story, despite being 10 episodes long, each one rating from 40 minutes to an hour, none of it actually focuses on Black Sun as a character.
Again, how does he not serve an importance? Kotaro trained her how to fight after so long of fearing for her life.
He did not train Aoi how to fight. He gave her one self-defense lesson. Now, to be fair, Kamen Rider Black Sun is not the only series that does this, but this is something that drives me crazy. Just because someone gives you one freaking lesson on self-defense doesn't mean you're suddenly a martial arts master, okay? Or that you can use.
Okay.
No one
we
said
just
that.
Needed that. Huh?
No one said that they were now a master.
Exactly. He was training.
Yeah, she's still learning the ropes on how to be a proper Kamen Rider. Like, good.
So what's it called? Essentially, even if you get taught like one lesson of self-defense, what would you describe that as? Are you saying that they showed them something? If you were showing them, then that would make them something that you taught them. Therefore, you taught them something. You may not have taught them for long.
This motherfucker is acting like
exactly
she's like Batman or something. She just knows like every fucking martial arts.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not like some race.
Does this guy not even get what a character arc is supposed to be?
Exactly, like she's still, like even at the end, like the whole terrorist organization, while she's using it for good purposes to take down Gorgom, at the same time, she's still shown to be more immature with the decisions she's making not being the best way to completely approach it. So, yeah, she's not mature yet, but the thing is she was raised by Kotaro. He did teach her that one lesson, which helped her keep going. She, along with receiving that lesson, he often would show up to save her. Like, for example, when her father, which was turned into a crab kaijin, was pretty much coming to fuck her up. He was coming to save her life, but it took Kujira to save her instead, and he came and picked her up. There was a massive bond between the characters, and a massive reason why she is where she is now is because of her time with Kotaro. It was a father figure type of situation, and also her kaijin friend that ended up getting brutally murdered by the extreme right-wing groups. Okay.
That's also part of Aoi's character arc.
Yeah, she's supposed to not be perfect.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. Nobody has to be perfect in order to be good. I mean, that's kind of what killed Star Wars in a big way with the sequel trilogy, is because the main character, Rey, was too much a Mary Sue.
Exactly. Like Aldi is learning it. Like even then, she's being father figured by Kotaro. She is learning from her kaijin friend. It's why after she's turned to a kaijin, she's able to bitch Belgenia and gather up her own apprentices. Even if her way ends up closer to how Shadow Moon approached it, he set up her motivation to keep fighting Gorgom. He basically was her father figure, as he'd save her when she was in danger and treated her like one of his own. And the feeling was mutual because she got him to get back on his feet and take down the current Creation King and his old friend Shadow Moon. Okay. He also Sad Boy Requiem also said Ripper Boy. Yep. Like that one actually shocked me, especially since he's a kid. Seeing him get his eye stomped out. Okay.
Oh, dude. Oh, you're talking about Bird Boy from the show. Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Yep.
In a real life scenario. And again, realism is the point. It's believability. It's hard for me to believe that Oe, who had no martial art experience prior to the events of the show, as far as I'm aware, is able to do this stuff because Kotaro taught her the one thing.
She doesn't do anything crazy though. She just battles she just takes out Kotaro, who let him kill her. And also, basically, a bunch of random kaijin. These aren't special kaijin with special powers. They're just normal people. And when it comes to what's the word? When it comes to Belgenia, he was already bitched by Shadow Moon. He beated the living fuck out of him. So when she was able to knock him down, it didn't take much. But yeah, it's not like she was this Mary Sue like fucking Ray or some shit. She had to learn it.
And she had to learn the hard way.
Yep, basically her arc is very similar to Kotaro in the original show. She lost fucking everything, and that set her in rage.
That's always bugged me when people do that, so naturally it's gonna bug me here.
And even was the one who took his last breath because he needed her to. He's got his own thing going on too, and throughout, he begins to remember what he fought for back in the day.
If by his own thing you mean spending half a century living as a bum in a freaking bus because he...
Wait, that's the fucking point there, fucko.
Damn, bro. Over here criticizing Kotaro for stealing his lifestyle. As a result, he's stealing everyone's intelligence to make up for the lack of his own.
Oh my lord. I think my brain just melted.
This guy's acted like...
Kill the Creation Team.
If I suddenly start talking like Professor Otaku, please kill me. For the love of God, please kill me.
The Creation King the one time. Sure. Look, I get they're trying to go with the whole Logan thing with Kotaro, the retired hero who was getting pushed into service for one last adventure from a person from the next generation. The difference is that in Logan was still doing shit. Well, first of all, he retired because he had a long history of doing the superhero thing, plus a whole bunch of crap before that, because Logan's been around for a while. And the reason why is he retired because the adamantium in his system was finally slowly killing him, and B, literally everyone he's ever known and loved was fucking dead. He had no one left to fight for. But even in his retirement, he was still doing something important, which was taking care of the alien Professor X. Which is still an important thing to do, considering that he's one of the most dangerous people on the planet. And
that also means that not everyone he cared about was dead. So
exactly,
right there.
Logan was still
contradiction.
Kotaro was just hanging around in a bus, doing small jobs just to make ends meet. But, like, he had no fight left in him. He had no intentions of trying again to take out Golgum or the Creation King. He didn't try to get himself stronger.
Oh, really? Is that why in the very first episode he beats up some random kaijin in his way and brutally murders the spider one? He just wasn't after Gorgom anymore, and obviously that changed. Yeah, he gave up before the show even aired, and the rest is basically him being Aodi's father figure and protecting her. She's even the reason he went back after Gorgom, but that's why, by the end, when he gets his motivation back, it's treated like a big deal because he's confronting the things he left behind years ago, including his old friend Nobuhiko. You might not like it, but you haven't gave an objective criticism on why it doesn't work. You're speaking from what you wanted instead of dissecting what we got. That's your problem.
Again, dude's a shooby. Doesn't even truly understand what makes tokusatsu so great in the first place. Just wrote it off as, oh, it's just dudes in goofy rubber suits doing goofy shit. Blah, 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 blah.
You got anything to add, Zim?
Not specifically, no.
Oh, okay.
He's the type of dude who keeps running into the wall, and he's like, I'm going to do it this time!
Yeah.
It's not how much he's aged, because he hasn't even attempted to eat heaven, which is, I get the reasons why, but if he truly had any fight left in him, he would at least consider the option. But no, again, he spent 50 years living as a bum in a bus. He gave up. He failed once and he gave up.
Yeah, you got no fight left in you when the Putty Patrol came and violated your ass. What's your point?
I don't call that doing something. I call that...
Yeesh!
from his time with Aodia, and over time he learned...
Chillin' the savage there, Conan.
Shadow Moon, knowing leaving him back in the day was one of the seeds that turned Nobuhiko into what he is now. If anything, I'd argue there are 3
Nobuhiko. Thank you. Shadow Moon's name is Nobuhiko. I'll try to remember that.
main characters to this story: Kotaro, Nobuhiko, and Aodia. This upset it takes a different approach from its source material. And
If by different approach means completely alien to what they mentioned before, sure.
Boy,
Well, it expands upon it. It doesn't take away. I can see why people didn't like Godzilla 98's vision, because again, its way of reimagining Godzilla was removing his iconic aspects. This barely removes anything from the original.
Well, the
This
other
just-
issue with 98 too is that it's removing its iconic aspects while also trying to still have a similar point to it, where Godzilla is still a product of the nuclear age. However, he's still extremely weak despite being born of atomic bombs. While in this case, very much of the original plot is intact.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I'm not really into Godzilla 98, because the way I see Godzilla is this unstoppable force of nature.
He certainly was unstoppable when he was trying to fight Mechagodzilla or Space Godzilla.
Yeah.
by this random teenage girl who was made up just for their show, that really rubbed me the wrong
Okay,
way.
good
I am
point.
sick and tired of reading this
You can call this a review. No offense, kid. Nothing here has been objective. You're simply complaining about concept.
But that's just me being a huge Kiryu fanboy.
Original. This is a reimagining, not just a remake. You should be glad.
What's the difference? Those are two distinctions without a meaningful difference.
Yes, there is. A remake is basically a story that retells. A remake is basically a story that retells the original. While there's some differences, for the most part, it's kind of like an alternative version of the same story. Peter Jackson's King Kong or the new Dead Space, for example. A reimagining is taking an established concept and pretty much asking yourself, what if they did this?
Yeah, a reimagining inherently tries to change aspects of an original story, while a remake changes aspects but is directly trying to adapt the original work.
Exactly.
Regardless of what you call it, it is a recreation of a pre-existing story. And in case I didn't make it clear in the video, I didn't like what the recreation was doing. I don't like the fact that most of the stories are about away. I especially don't like the way they I meant more simple. That really rubbed me the wrong way.
Libbity, jibbity, jibbity, jabbity, libbity, libbity, blibbity, boobity, libbity.
Creation was doing. I don't like the fact that most of the stories are about away. I especially don't like the way they try to pass the torch onto Away after Kotaro gets shanked. I meant more simple. That really rubbed me the wrong way. I get what they were going for.
I mean, so did the Putty Patrol, but you still kept coming back for seconds. The sloppy seconds, but you know what I mean.
Coming back.
Oh God, I'm dead.
I don't think they did it right.
Glad this stays closer to the source material than Amazon's. As while that reinvented the core elements, there's no shot or scene.
If he was in this chat right now with all of us, he'd want to punch every one of us.
Yes.
I'd love to see him try.
You kidding me? It would end up like that one guy from that scene from JoJo where they all gang up on him and beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, I would. I very much legitimately love to see him try.
Sad
does not
boy,
want to smoke.
Requiem said, Karate Bugman, fuck up Japanese neo-Nazis is cool, but it's the characters and the struggle that makes it captivating and deeper than what's on the surface. Exactly.
No.
Like, here's the thing. What catches
Kind
the
of like
appeal-
with the original trilogy in Star Wars.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. What catches
You're
the
right.
appeal... What catches the appeal in stuff like this is we like the aesthetic, but we stay for the deeper things it comes to offer.
Yeah, we don't watch unkillable Superman and be unkillable, invincible Superman. We watch his transition into becoming unkillable, invincible Superman.
I thought you were very talking about Invincible for a minute there.
Well, at least the only other person outside of Mainman Stan and Superman that's going to be transitioning here is Abyss Kaiser.
Uh,
Oh no, I'm not being politically correct. How surprising!
Capture
This-
the appeal of what that made that era Kamen Rider so iconic, which was the bloody gory violence. Sure, there's not the main character isn't literally a dude from the Amazon rainforest, but that's fine. it's, at least to me, Amazon's example of doing something different while being faithful to what came before. That's the key word here. It doesn't have to recreate the original, but it needs to be faithful to the original, if that makes any sense.
Amazon's... Oh, okay, I agree, but the issue... I agree that Amazon's didn't need to be completely accurate to the original, but the issue here is you're complaining about Black Sun putting a what-if spin on Kamen Rider Black when it sticks closer to the original material than Amazon's does. And you can argue Black Sun captures that appeal too, because one of the things people loved about the original Black is its more dark and gritty tone. Similar to how Amazon expanded the gore, Black Sun expanded the darker tone due to freedom of being on a streaming service and aimed at an adult crowd.
Analyze it to know what it takes from the series outside of the designs and use of gore.
And the thing just really makes the situation frustrating is that Kamen Rider as a series has done these gritty reboots for the Showa era shows right before. The first season of Kamen Rider Amazons back in, I want to say 2016, did a pretty good job of reworking the source material for a new show while still maintaining the appeal of what made Amazons interesting to begin with, and that was the violent, gory action.
I agree, Amazons did an incredible job. As for example, you have the mole who's friends with the heroes and helps them battle other Amazons. You got Haruka, well, isn't the jungle boy Amazon was. He was a young beast who was found and raised into being a...
Okay,
That's what happens when you put speed up.
Common ground. Moving on.
But again, Black Sun did what Amazons did, taking a new concept and coding it around the original. Only there's more...
But it doesn't really take a new concept, though. Well, I guess it does, because the whole thing about...
Yeah, it's so funny. He was like, he really wanted to be like, no.
Can't really work. Again,
Yeah.
asking a prey and a predator to get along together is a very difficult ask for both sides, as one's constantly trying to eat the other. I mean, I guess like the little dinner ending with Haruka's sister and the little Amazons might be an example of maybe that working out, maybe, but I don't know. Okay, this is an Amazon talk, this is a Black Sun talk, let's keep going.
Except
being a lot of the main aspects
Kaijin and Amazons are not the same thing.
Yeah.
Did he not get the memo?
Worshipping cult called Gorgom. There's still a big focus on the relationship of Kotaro and Nobuhiko from past friendship to current day rivals. The darker tone is still there, just updo to being for adults. Not to mention the characters' names from...
Those are very surface level examples of calling back to the original. Sure,
Maybe because the original show is super simplistic and Black Sun decided to take the basics and dive deeper into what's going on, what they're doing, and obviously requiring more thinking. That's why you could say, oh, they're surface levels, but here's the thing, those are the big plot points of the original Black.
Names are similar, sure, the premise title is similar, but the Golgum and Black Sun is completely different from Golgum in the original. In the original, they were basically just Shocker again.
Yeah, because here's the thing, in the original, they were simplistic villains like Shocker. Here, you still have the core aspects of what Gorgom is and what they do, just they have deeper motivations. It's pretty explanatory, my guy.
And guess what? Gorgom are still the main villains.
Yep, they're pretty recognizable. The only massive difference, I guess you could say, is, as Kaiden Okami said it at the comment of my video, is he didn't really care for the fact that in this one, Gorgom looks like people in hoods, while in the original, they look more creative. I can get that, but still. Other than that difference, their motives are the same. They are doing a lot of the same stuff, just they got more to them as characters. And I'm not saying complex means better, because it doesn't. There's an art to simplicity. But let's not act like that expanding upon a simple concept makes it no longer faithful, because that's the point of a mature reimagining.
I mean, there is... Yeah, just because something is simple doesn't mean it's shit. I mean, King of the Braves Galgaigar is simple. I'm definitely going on and saying it. It's better than Evangelion.
I love both.
I know. I'm just saying, man. I mean, I don't hate Evangelion, but the fan base can be rather insufferable at times. But that's a rant for another time.
Sad Boy Requiem said, "Rest in peace, Mamoru. Best mole boy." Agreed.
Or just the evil faction. Yes, the rivalry between Kotaro and Nobuhiko is the center point of the story. But again, the Kotaro and Nobuhiko in this context are completely different characters, and the context is different too. Again, the original Nobuhiko was turned into Shadow Moon. He lost whatever humanity he had because it was taken from Golgo, which is one of the reasons Kotaro needed to stop them, because they were evil.
Yeah, in the new show, he's also, as a child, Kotaro and Nobuhiko are basically getting all those Kingstones put into them as kids. So yeah, they had their life taken away from Gorgom as well. Shadow
And
Moon
not
just
to
had-
mention, they were doing the operations while they were awake, which is
Exactly.
all kinds of disturbing.
There's just more to their motivation there than there was in the original. And again, that doesn't make it better than the original. It just means they expanded upon it. It's a pretty faithful reimagining, my guy. And I was actually surprised how faithful it was.
Here, however, the whole thing with Golgum, it's not clear if they want equality, if they want to rule the humans. It goes back and forth. I know that's kind of the point, and they're trying to do the whole game as their own things, but there's a bunch of...
You see, you ruined your whole argument there. So I get that was kind of the point. Then don't criticize it for it.
Yeah,
backstabbing.
dumbass.
Yeah, interesting.
See, Matt's over here being more nasty towards him than I am. I'm just taking funny. I'm just taking goofy jabs.
I just said he was a dumbass because he is being a dumbass.
That is true.
I'm just being all Red Foreman up in this bitch.
That is true.
I'll shove my foot up your ass.
His ass is already destroyed,
Oh,
man.
thanks a lot for taking my line there, Aaron.
Aaron,
You're welcome, dumbass.
I mean, your foot could definitely fit up his ass, considering all the stuff that he's shoving up there.
Oh my god!
Oh look, Stan. I'm getting insulted worse than you are right now by Dojin.
Right, we don't need to know any more about your chocolate hand puppet hour.
I'm getting roasted harder.
And people thought me bringing up Cornholio was bad. Like Jesus Christ! I just made a joke about Darling in the Franks and basically making it TP in my Cornholio.
I am the great
Cornholio.
Remain intact.
And no, I'm not saying that Black Sun needed to be Amazon Season 3. But what I am saying is that the changes they decided to make to the source material doesn't work for the story it originally had.
Care to explain how? Just seems to me you're making a bunch of baseless claims because certain aspects didn't appeal to you personally. I get opinions differ, but when you're saying something is bad in a more complex way, then I don't enjoy this.
Well, I guess that's what this video is for.
Then you have no argument to stand on.
And the story spends so much time around the issue of...
Should have done it in the original video, asshole.
Yep.
Yeah, just
I
doing
stress,
the
it
original
didn't exist in the
video.
original Kamen Rider Black or Black RX.
Like I said, it was just a little over 5 minutes of him bitching
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
with no
I'm
substance.
saying, he keeps using the word reimagining as if that's...
Yeah,
Here's a
like again,
Kamen Rider...
I watched Kamen Rider Black Sun looking for gritty, ultra-violent tokusatsu and came away plenty satisfied. Politics be damned.
I mean, he probably got even more satisfied after getting his booty hole fucked by the putty patrol, but...
Oh my god. Sheesh.
I expect the show to resemble Kamen Rider in some form. It's called Kamen Rider Black Sun.
Of course, it wasn't in the original show. Watch
That's
any
racist.
rewatch, including prior entries in this series, and you'll see what I mean. Not to mention, that's literally the point of making an adult-aimed Kamen Rider series.
That was a
to
joke
tread places
for
even
anyone,
a Japanese
like-
kid show won't. Well, I won't say Kamen Rider is as political as Godzilla.
Yeah,
Oh, trust me.
Sure as hell
Oh,
has-
trust me, I know that joke.
0-0 is about
God,
how
that's
has
Wonder
drugs.
Children.
Godzilla is anti-drugs. The original, he's fighting literal Nazis. It's just more obvious here.
The issue has nothing to do with politics. I know it's easy for people to mistake that because fucking everything has to be political nowadays, but whether...
Again, bullshit. Your video, the very 5 minutes of your video contradicts that statement. And you even say in this response over here that you don't like that it quote unquote pushes an agenda, which it fucking doesn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yes,
If it was really pushing an agenda, again, it'd be Captain Marvel.
yeah.
Take R, which I'm not going to tell you because I'm not a freaking idiot.
It's okay,
It
we
has
already
nothing to do
know.
with my like or dislike of Kamen Rider Black Sun.
If I want my own
Politics,
badass
or it's
heroine
politics,
that's
but
blonde, I'll
the
have
main problem
Samus
is
Aran.
adaptation, which it is because it's based on pre-existing.
Agreed.
And is that a problem? No, I explained this in my review. First of all, if you made themes any less heavy-handed, it would change a fuck ton of the concept. That's one of the aspects that makes it stand as a new show with the political coding.
I know it would change a lot because I didn't like the show I got.
Then watch something else. Rewatch the original Black. Don't rage about another vision existing.
From the existing story. Making that subtle, you might as well just remake Black with you hints dropped in the pudding for the viewer to pick out themselves. At this point, you're literally criticizing it for existing.
I guess I kind of am. I guess I am kind of criticizing it for existing.
Self-awareness point 2.
Yeah.
What the fuck was the fucking point of this goddamn video, you goddamn motherfucking cock-biting piece of shit?
Oh my god. And Sad Boy Requiem said, all Kamen Rider shows have a message. Usually it's don't be a dick and be the best you can. Exactly.
a message we can all agree with. Well,
Yep.
all of us except the asshole on either side.
It's fun
you speak
being
for
a
me,
dick,
Matt?
though.
What?
We're
should
all
all
being
be
dicks to
dicks.
Stan right now.
Okay,
It's okay, he takes dicks
If I
on
may-
It's okay,
if
he
I-
takes dicks on the daily, so
okay, if I may rephrase this better, it's okay to be a dick, just don't be an asshole.
But that's
Or-
fun too. I mean, we kind of are being assholes. We're cussing them out like crazy right now.
Nah, this is being tame. We're being real tame actually right now.
exactly. Very
Oh,
good.
very, very tame.
Like you seen how I was in our video on Professor Otaku.
So-called reimagining, reboot, okay, whatever the fuck you want to call it, as an adaptation of Kamen Rider Black, because it's really not. With all the focus of the political intrigue and the characters, despite sharing the same names, being so starkly different in concept to what they were before, can you really call it Kamen Rider Black Sun? I think I wouldn't have so many issues with this show that I did if this was, I guess, as like an original Kamen Rider story. If it was that, I don't think I'd have as many problems with it. I still have problems with the way the story was written, assuming nothing changed after that.
Weren't you
again,
saying that this would
it's
have
probably
been a
Kamen Rider
cool
Black Sun.
idea for
It
Kamen
advertised as a
Rider?
recreation of Kamen Rider Black.
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting. A more
Again,
Oh
what
my
the
god.
Why would I
fuck
not
was
expect
the
it?
point of this
And that's not
stupid
what I got.
video? Like,
Instead,
Jesus
it
fucking
wasn't
Christ.
very good in my eyes.
He made it
Well,
so that way we could laugh
design
at
is
him.
really cheaping out. I mean, sure, the Black Sun and Shadow Moon.
Well,
pretty cool, but everyone
mission
else,
accomplished
well,
on
yes,
that
love
part.
else.
Hold on, hold on.
Although I doubt it,
You okay, buddy?
although I doubt it looked very good in his resume.
And what I got instead wasn't very good.
Everyone, on the count of three, go ha ha at him. 1, 2, 3.
We laugh at you, sir. You are stupid and we laugh at you.
Costume design is really cheaping out. I mean, sure, the Black Sun and Shadow Moon costumes are pretty cool, but everyone else is just cheap Halloween masks and gloves and not much else. I've seen better monster costumes from the freaking Putty Patrol than this show.
You okay, buddy? It sounds like you're stroking your cock as you mentioned the flamboyant.
I thought you said I didn't have a cup.
Really ironic you made that joke.
I didn't
He
Considering
did
you
look
love to do
there.
that all the
What's
time
going on?
yourself.
Nobody else will fuck you, so a golem sounds pretty hot and all, but this is a fucking review for Christ's sake. I didn't click to hear you bust one out.
Well, what is he talking about? Well, that's not criticism. You're just insulting me because I said something you didn't like. That's not the same thing. Instead of
Yes.
actually having a reasonable conversation, you're just
No
saying things about me that you have no
fucking
idea.
shit.
Are we
How have
really
you not
doing
found the
anime
fuck
imitation
out
of the crab kaijin?
when he's insulting you when he's being
That
legitimate
one's
yet?
alright. I will admit. I
It's
forgot how to
black
shoot
and
in the same way.
goddamn white, damn
That
it.
one's alright. The Curation King, that's not a suit.
Ugh.
Pretty sure that's a puppet. Granted, it's a pretty cool puppet. I'll give it that. I forgot to mention that in my initial review. I thought the Curation King puppet thing was really cool. The motions are very puppet-like, obviously, but hey, you know, I'll take it over some big CGI monstrosity for sure. Now, as for like the crab kaijin he's talking about, well, I mean, the head and chest pieces are kind of cool, but you can tell they're hiding the lack of costume with the human clothing. Especially the crab hands also look pretty cheap. This is what I mean about.
Yeah,
cheap
here's the
stuff. They're
thing.
pretty
Like, just because there's a suit on them, yeah, you can argue that it's a cheaper route they went, but in the grand scheme of things, there's still an aesthetic in the plot that made that cheaper route work because it adds on to the message that these are still human beings in the grand scheme of things.
And
So,
once again, if I may reiterate one more again, they look leaps and bounds far better than any MCU bullshit we got now, especially Iron Man.
yeah, most definitely.
I mean, and that's coming from the guy who, like myself who used to love the Iron Man suits in the MCU way back in the day. Like Jesus fucking Christ, that looks like something. That looked like something out of Bubblegum Crisis or something.
head and the gloves. There's no full body costume, which again, not a fan of that direction. Makes it look kind of cheap.
A lot of them, at their worst, look like something you'd expect from the longer shows. Which, yeah, they've got an excuse because they're longer, but considering how good the main kaijin tend to look, I'm not gonna complain as I understand corners need to be cut somewhere. For the background kaijin, they're pretty much in the same boat as the golems and things like them in toku shows. Only you're wrong about them looking worse, since let's compare the details here. Again, no disrespect towards those shows, I love them, but they're longer, so they don't have the luxury of making things look this convincing.
I will admit the Putty Patrol mention was a bit mean. That was a bit over-exaggeration. But I still have problems with the costumes. Again, I think the big problem is that they're not full body costumes. I get it. I get they need to.
You have problems with the concept, not the execution.
On where the money's at. So
We get it.
the Shadow Moon and Black Sun costumes. Are
Yeah.
which is fine. Like I said, I thought those.
Can we just drop it here?
They really need two of them. Did both Black Sun and Shadow Moon need 2 different forms for their costumes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the point. They wanted to give them more of a body horror-like aesthetic. Like in the original Black, a show that you claim to love, like this was also shown more in the manga, but he has this one form called the Beta Man, something like that, that looks more buggish, and that's what the first form of Black Sun and Shadow Moon are. You just see them in action more here, but you did get a brief look at that. And when he got this new costume, same with Shadow Moon, those led for more bigger plot points because the Kingstone shown that they were getting to a closer level to the Creation King. And Black Sun, that Kingstone in him ended up setting him to rage, and as someone put Super Saiyan mode, because Audi was in danger. In Shadow Moon's case, it's because a bunch of far-right groups that were against Kaijin ended up killing an innocent young Kaijin, which caused him to end up raging and pretty much crushing the person's head in and going into a further form. So yeah, they did need them. It's for a plot point. This is a complex show. It's not just a simple plot of basics like the original is. And again, that's not a problem. The original show has a great simplistic story with pretty dark nihilistic themes when you look into them, but it's still simplistic. It's an 80s show targeting a younger crowd, and that doesn't make it inferior. It just makes it more simple and and worked as a good basis, for lack of a better word, a template for what a reimagining could do.
Yeah, again, simple does not mean bad.
Yeah.
Far from it.
Pepper some of the other iconic types. Oh, the pterodactyl one. Also, just again, and fins. I get
Like
these
Frieza.
shows not the greatest budget at times, but like, come on, again, the monster fights is the focus and the appeal of this entire franchise. Let's not forget that.
But while neither can make much emotion, and admittedly when you look into Lizard's eyes, it's Scream series prop, it's given the opportunity to give detail, like feathers, scales, and other things, while the Pussy Patrol, I say that because look at the photo he used, this is them cornering his mom before a gangbang.
Again, with the sexual comments, I don't get it. It's fine that he doesn't agree with my takes. That's not the problem. I don't know why he keeps going towards the sexual comments. That's not mature, not the most mature way you could have handled that for sure.
Aw, I thought you of all people would appreciate them, since they're the only sexual comments you'll receive in your entire life outside of the people I've already stated.
And again,
Hello.
But I don't think you consented
this
to
guy
them.
is saying this shit, but weren't you like acting like a child ranting about it in your original video? You were insulting as well, calling people fanboys.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Which, okay, yes, it's nowhere near as bad as what the shit you've been saying, but still, you're insulting
exactly. And Sad Boy Requiem also said, to be honest, I think you should have used Starfish Hitler from Kamen Rider X LMAO. Yeah, I could have used that.
Of course, you also would have easily triggered a bunch of commies too.
Yeah. Well, I'll be doing that more when I talk on Professor Otaku more. There's also a shitty article calling Kamen Rider Gaim sexist that I want to rip apart because, believe it or not, yeah, there's an article that calls Kamen Rider Gaim sexist because it uses aspects of the Adam and Eve story for interesting lore. Yeah, I'll rip apart that.
Sorry, but Adam and Eve is a classic story of from the creation legend. Like, Jesus fuck, are these people batshit insane or just are pants shittingly stupid?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. Well, that answered my
Do I think
question.
Kamen Rider Black Sun is a bad show? Yes. But do I think it's a bad reboot, adaptation, whatever you want to call it, as, say, Zack Snyder's DC Universe or anything being produced for Disney+? No.
Bro, it's better than anything from the MCU, even with its bits of comedic elements.
That's what I said. I said it was better than those.
Yeah, you said it's not as bad as
right.
You said it's not as bad as the Disney Plus stuff like She-Hulk, which would imply there's better MCU properties, which I completely disagree with.
Yeah. Good luck finding far better MCU material. Like, you're gonna be looking for a while there, bub.
Yeah, like again, he doesn't state that there's better MCU films, but he stated the only MCU who will be back.
I think it's Matt. Yeah, Matt said he's gonna be back.
Okay. He said that he states that the only ones it's better than is Disney Plus. Not every MCU property is being produced for Disney Plus, so you should have been more specific there if that's not what you meant.
What's the argument here? I said they weren't as bad as those.
and it's not even close.
I will say, despite all the problems I have with the writing, I did at least get some enjoyment out of it.
No joke, I guarantee this is his style of critique while watching the Putty Patrol give his mom a sloppy Joe.
I have to really ask what kind of pornography this guy's watching if this is the comments he's making. I don't know. I'm starting to think that he has a more thing for Putty Patrol than I supposedly do.
Easy. The pornography I'm subscribed to is your mom's OnlyFans. She has some good shit on there. How could you blame me?
Oh my god, dude.
Brutality.
Like, there's Savage, and then there's you there, Joey.
Thank you.
Like, you'd think you were quoting in Conan's best line. Hey, Joey,
Huh?
may I ask you one question? What is best in life?
To crush your enemies, see them
Yeah.
driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women.
Definitely.
I was asking Joey, not you, Zimzilla, but
I had to. Trust me, as a lover of Conan, I had to steal it from him. I mean, what can I say? A real one taking it from a real one. Just gotta pat him out on it.
And if even after
Yeah,
this,
I do like the
watch
answer.
Kamen Rider Black Sun for whatever reason, go right ahead, man. You do you. But there is a ton, and I mean a ton of much better tokusatsu out there that is much more worth your time than this.
Okay, I have to say, I do respect this courtesy here. I know I
Like
judged
Godzilla's
him throughout
Revenge.
this video for entertainment purposes. He doesn't seem like a bad guy. I respect how he's been handling the comment section.
If I don't seem like a bad guy, why are you making all these verbal sexual assaults on me? You're giving me mixed messages here, pal.
I mean, if you'd pay attention, I stated it was for nothing but entertainment purposes. Like Black Sun is for Kamen Rider Black, coded in politics and realism, my criticisms are coded with comedic satire. For example, the jabs I take at you are much more tame than, say, Professor Otaku, where I went all out on him because my goal was to hurt his feelings. My jokes here are just glorified gay jokes worded in the most absurd way possible and a few mama jokes. These aren't personal. They mean nothing. But getting laughter, they mean nothing but getting laughter out of the viewer. This is 2016 commentary YouTube style, such as Leafy is here or iDubbbz, or even Filthy Foot.
Yeah, you just be thankful he's being lenient with you.
Exactly. Like, I wasn't out to hurt this kid. I just like, okay, he has a stupid take. I'll do some roasting for comedic satire. He's in for a bit of a lashing, but nothing crazy. Zaberfang said, you have no idea why Black Sun's story was made. I mean, why wasn't
talking about again?
Yeah, like, I have no idea what he's talking about. Like, if you want to hear my arguments, go to my review of Kamen Rider Black Sun. But yeah, also another thing to say, like, go to a live show from a comedian like Bill Burr or Uncle Roger. They roast their audiences. It's not that deep, bro.
Oh,
it's not that deep.
Might I suggest the brilliant comedy of Bill Hicks?
Yeah, like, roasting is a part of comedy. So yeah, like, the stuff I say here is not personal.
The internet isn't like what it was back in the early to mid 2000s, okay? If you call people this, think of it this way. It's a good thing this is over the internet, because if someone said these things to my face about all the sexual, I'd probably punch him in the fucking face, you know?
Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier.
My dude, you don't want the smoke, trust me. You don't want the smoke.
Yeah, you really do not want this heat on you, dude. I mean, if Joey was this savage towards Professor Otaku, trust me, you don't want it.
Yeah, like, I'm going easy on you. No reason to be upset about it. These are not personal. The stuff I do on people like Professor Otaku are much worse because, like I said, I genuinely aim to hurt their feelings. I'm just criticizing your arguments, maybe going for it and trying to make people laugh while doing it. That's it. And it worked. Either you'll laugh at my sense of humor or you'll take it in the ass like you do the Putty Patrol. Okay, it's probably getting old at this point, but I'm sorry. The way he said it just...
Yeah, another thing, Joey, even if you haven't watched Bubblegum Crisis, you gotta admit, his piss takes on 80s anime is just goddamn tarded.
I'll be honest, I have not watched much of Professor Otaku's videos, and besides ones I'm doing commentary videos on because he's fucking awful. I'm not someone who aims to lose brain cells. I only watch his garbage takes because I only watch his garbage takes when I want to do a video on them. That's it. Zaberfang said Kamen Rider was definitely political since its founding. Exactly.
Well, yeah, except the difference between this kind of political and that kind of political is one kind of political is just there to tell a good story, and the other is more propaganda.
Yeah. And when it comes to the original Blood, the original Kamen Rider stuff, they handle them well in more subtle ways. But Black Sun's case, if you remove the subtlety, it's not it's a shell. It removes the point of what making Black Sun is, because what he's wanting, to my understanding, is just just the same story of the original show, just with blood and gore. That's all he's wanting.
Yeah. By the way, boy, I'll take your Gundam and raise your Votons.
And were you about to say, Zim?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought that was you. Exactly! Bro, Zaberfing, if you haven't watched my original video, I definitely recommend checking it out, not to shill, because that's basically what I say in it. It's about how both sides are bad. Like, Gorgum are literally the far left, and Shadow Moon is basically the modern leftist that came in and pretty much just took the movement and made it a shell of what it once was. Okay, Sad Boy Requiem said, I've watched his first and the next review, and it seemed more put together and semi-analytical. Maybe he's gotten better, but his Black Sun video was just cancer, dude.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't seem like a bad guy. I mean, a little bad at taking criticism.
I can already see him if he ever watches this video at this part when you say that. He's like, why you been insulting me this whole fucking time?
Yeah, like, he makes it just like this is all insults. Like, it's jokes, dude. Don't take it out. I'm not the Putty Patrol, and I'm not BBC down the street that you go to every night.
Yeah, does anybody even know what a joke is anymore?
Yeah,
right, I forgot. Oh, right, I forgot we live in a post-fun society.
Yep, like, I want to entertain people. That's why I want to bring back the 2016 commentary style in, because I want it to be fun. I want to be entertaining. I have an edgy sense of humor, and you might share it, you might not. That's not my fucking problem.
You like it or you don't.
Yep.
That's all there is to it.
When all we're talking about is freaking Japanese superheroes, you know? There's no need for this. So, if you don't have a problem with me, great. Maybe cut back on the really, really offensive comments then.
Well, unlike you, I try to be entertaining in my videos, so no.
So hopefully a constructive video here can give you some actual food for thought. Maybe you'll change your mind, maybe you won't, I don't know.
So no, my mind has not been changed. And I'm really confused on where the constructive part is.
It's been throughout this fucking video, and you've been dismissing it.
You're a dumbass.
I didn't like that.
You're a dumbass.
I didn't like the fact they were there to begin with. You never addressed those points of why they actually worked. You're just saying I'm wrong for criticizing them.
No, I didn't. I literally go into certain aspects on why it's in the show, and yeah, some things I say on why it's there, like going, oh, it's a reimagining, but because you really blame me, a lot of your video, you're just making claims and not diving into them. There's not much to deconstruct about your statements. You just say, oh, I don't like this, or oh, I don't like that. So what I do, I take what you give me, and I go into what happens in Black Sun, and that alone explains why you're wrong.
Realizes that's what he's doing.
To make any assumptions, but please, oh please, don't let crazy anti-SJW YouTubers like the Quartering or God forbid Geeks and Gamers get to your head.
Okay, so first of all, don't watch those channels.
Right.
So I guess it doesn't worry about that. Also,
Right.
Nothing to do with
I mean,
I don't care what you believe in, and you shouldn't care what I believe in.
I mean,
I'm just here to talk.
Yeah, I don't care what you believe in, but the thing is, but when when you decide to use those beliefs and put it into a very crap video to criticize something, then I'm gonna call it out. Again, I'm not this cringy SJW you think I am.
Yeah, none of us are. I'm definitely not an SJW. Like,
oh, you're anything but an SJW. Like, I
mean, I'm a bit on the right end of things, but even still, that doesn't make me alt-right or right wing SJW. And besides, we even stopped using SJW a while ago since, let's be honest, the left have gone for brokes as of late.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to it.
Dudes in costumes and motorcycle helmets beating the crap out of each other. That's what I like in my.
Saying this as someone who used to be obsessed with that type of content, and it was a shithole of toxicity and grifting. There's still some anti-SJWs I like, even if I don't always agree with them, but be picky about who you watch, and don't let it get to your head like I did.
When it comes to this specific context, whether you're SJW or anti-SJW, I don't care. I don't
Your
care. The
video
science,
is
all
still
I care about is stupid.
anti-SJW.
That's all
Don't
this channel
deny
is
it.
about. Nothing to do with
Yeah.
Because it can make you misjudge things, focus too much on negativity, and just create unnecessary bullshit that you don't need. That said, we have reached the end of the video, so please comment your thoughts down below, smash that like button, and share it around. Also check out my review for Kamen Rider Black Sun. Link is in the description down below, alongside my social media accounts and all tech. This is Gojin the Makai Man.
Okay, so that was the video. Gotta say, not sure what I was.
You're a dumbass.
Now, in terms of the actual points he addressed in the show, obviously my mind's not changed. I don't like the show.
Yeah, because you're a dumbass.
No one's telling you that you have to like the
I
show.
didn't like the show I got.
It's not about you liking the show. It's more of about saying that, hey, this isn't my cup of tea. That video is bad, and moving on. You don't have to appreciate something. You can just be like, I don't like the direction this went, and move on. It's simple.
Yeah.
Different styles, genres exist for a reason.
Yeah, it's so simple a retard like me can figure it out.
Yep. Sad Boy Requiem said the best debaters are the people who are on both sides. I am sub to Nerdrotic. He has some good points, but I don't agree with everything he says. Yes, Nerdrotic's good. I also like Rag.
Neurotic's cool. I'm also
quite
a huge fan of the Critical Drinker too.
Critical Drinker's fun, yes. Synthetic Man doesn't like Critical Drinker because he's not extreme right like he is.
Oh my god, fuck Synthetic Man. Like, this guy is basically walking Strawman Central.
Yeah, fuck Synthetic Man. I also like Lauren Shin's nice. Besides the fact that she's an attractive Asian woman, I think she makes good points. She doesn't seem to grift too much, at least. And overall, even when I don't agree with her, she can make some pretty solid points. And Sad Boy Requiem said, knowing both sides and finding a compromise of deals is the best way to go, in my opinion. Too bad people are hard-headed and will die to prove themselves right and moral. Exactly. Like, I've been on both sides. Like, I don't want to say SJW, but close. I've been anti-SJW, where it was a point where even Zimzilla was calling me out, and Zimzilla hates anti-SJW stuff too, but I remember he was in my messages telling me that, hey, dude, this is not healthy. You're getting a bit about this.
If I may admit a little aspect of myself, I was almost kind of, sort of, somehow, somewhat an SJW in a way, and then Razor Fist came and pretty much beat the stupid out of me.
Yeah, and now that, well, I think the more accurate term is Aaron Howard came and he fucked the stupid out of you.
I skull fucked it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, when you've been on both sides, you kind of learn how to be objective.
I've been on both sides.
At the end of the day, that's the point. Frankly, about 1,000 other things before I watch Black Sun ever again. Now,
he said he'd watch other things before Black Sun ever again. I think he's referring to his porn collection of men. He likes the cock and ball torture.
He probably watches that Casino Royale scene all the time.
Yeah.
Where the villain is torturing James Bond, doing exactly that, cock and ball torture.
You know, he's probably enjoying the roast, actually. He's probably like, oh, yes, Gojin!
Just be thankful.
Oh!
Just be thankful it ain't Professor's own collection of German Scheisse porn.
If I was good at video editing, I would edit that scene where the villain's hitting him with cock and ball torture with you as James Bond and Stan as the guy. If I was good at that shit, you can't tell me that would have been funny.
Yeah, Zaberfang said, using a brain to watch the show would easily see how the story was actually told. That reviewer definitely shuts his brain when watching such shows and only is there for the action, not the story. This comment section is based. I fucking love you guys. Because again, yeah, that's the issue. A lot of people, when they turn on goofy Japanese special effects, they just come in for they don't come in for the story. Like in Godzilla movies, a lot of people grew up with Godzilla movies because as kids, they just wanted the action. And then as an adult, they still just watch Godzilla movies for the action and nothing else. While people like me, as I've grown up, I've learned to appreciate them for more. And when I got into stuff like Kamen Rider, I've been able to appreciate the deeper stuff they allow too. Yeah, what grabs our attention is the people in suits doing all these cool fights, but when there's more to it, it's fucking awesome.
Was not so much his different.
I think this has been the best live stream we've done by far.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Between us watching this video and all the comments, this shit's been incredible.
Yeah, I will say definitely a good job on y'all in the comment section.
Yeah,
helps us.
Let me remind you. Yeah, let me remind you how we really ought to do a Professor Otaku roast one of these days.
Someday, but what were we about to say, Zem?
Oh no, I said what I needed to say.
No, but what were you saying?
I said thank you for everyone in the comment section because you help us sort of bounce ideas off our heads and all that.
Exactly.
Damn right. Yeah, you guys are cool.
Yes.
Kept calling me a cocksucker. I was not a fan of the fact he kept calling me some sort of kind of prostitution, and certainly wasn't a fan of the.
Let me go back.
I don't care if you agree or disagree with me. Great if you did. I don't like the show. Yes, a lot of the things I complained about, if they were removed, would completely change the direction of the show, which is what I want, because I didn't like the show I got.
We don't care. It's like a fat one.
Huh?
The ending of this video is essentially him molding. We don't care. It's like a fat one.
Exactly. Watch something else. Clearly, there's an audience for Shiraishi's vision, and why is that the case? They did it right. Like I said, if you want to enjoy this story simplified and focus solely on Kotaro and Nobuhiko, that still exists in the 1987 classic. Yes, I know you recommended it at the end of your video, but that's not the point I'm making. I'm basically just saying Black didn't need to be what the original was. I've watched Amazon's. I came in expecting it to make multiple tweaks to the original material, and I was surprised by how accurate it was in the grand scheme of things.
At the end of the day, that's the point. I'd rather watch the original Kamen Rider Black, and frankly, about 1,000 other things before I watch Black Sun every
Well,
day.
I mean, you probably like to watch porn with Black in it, if you know what I mean, Black dick, and that's it. I'm thinking of that, your asshole being pummeled.
Oh my god.
Dude.
The thing that really got under my skin was not so much his differing opinions on the show itself, because, again, we're just a bunch of nerds looking for a good time. I don't care if you agree or disagree with me. It's great if you do. It's great if you don't. That's just how it goes. I definitely weren't a fan of the fact that he kept calling me a cocksucker. I was not a fan of the fact he kept calling me some sort of kind of prostitution, and certainly wasn't a fan about the comments he made about my mother.
Dude, it was a joke.
And dude, I don't know your mom. As far as I'm concerned, mama jokes aren't directed at a specific person most of the time. Now, if she was featured in your video, or worse, I'd start going on about how you were raised and shit, I don't know, then yes, that's cowardly even. I just made ridiculous ways to say your mom. I didn't even know people still took offense to those.
Yeah, like
you forgot to. This is the age of the butthurt.
Exactly.
Did you forget that, little Joey?
He also post-butt society.
Okay. And the said boy Requiem said, as a self-proclaimed professional lurker, I just sit back with my beer and watch the world burn. Well said. Well said.
That is
okay, Joker.
That is a very based comment right there, sad boy.
Based in sad pilled, I guess, or requiem pilled.
Exactly.
And I would definitely say that
better than being black pilled.
This guy's channel name again? Gojin, the Makai Phantom. If he somehow ends up watching this for whatever reason, which I mean, hi, thanks for watching my video. If you don't,
your video sucks dick.
Maybe not try to use
just like you.
Sexually charged verbal assaults to belittle me.
Not as much as Professor Otaku, dude. Like he sucks both dick and ass.
So hopefully,
see also his Shisa porn collection.
Won't give me any more trouble than my first Black Sun video will get. And yeah, that was my experience. My first response video. My first video of someone responding to something I did. Yes, I'm a true YouTuber now. So
no, you're a shit YouTuber.
Yeah.
I'm a Catholic whore, currently enjoying Congress, and I'm quite with my black Jewish boyfriend who works in a military abortion clinic. So hail Satan, and have a lovely afternoon, madam.
Satan would be laughing with all of us right now at this.
Now we're gonna look at the comment section. First, I did comment it because, again, I'm not out to hurt this kid, so I made my intent clear on the joke part. But this person called Joe Crazy, fuck you for sharing my name. But You know, for a guy who is calling you an anti-SJW, dude has a very non-PC way of throwing insults. And I'm not PC, you fucking brainlet. Where did you get that idea? How about you go to my channel? And if that video alone should tell you I'm not PC. Like, I don't go stuff like, oh, this kid's racist or shit like that. That's nothing I do. So I don't know where he got that other than me just criticizing. Here's the issue why I'm assuming these people are on a side. Because here's the thing. They only see black and white. That's all they see. Nothing else. They don't see a guy in the middle criticizing someone for trying to make something woke that really isn't. That's why I make these claims. And he says, rules for thee and not for me. Shut the fuck up. I guess on a more positive note, that has got to be one of the most flimsy response videos I've seen in a while. Most of his criticisms was in form of insults that had nothing to do with the issues you had with the show. When he wasn't doing that, he was missing the points you were trying to make. Can you address those? I think here I've kind of cleared my points up on what he was trying to make. Like,
Wait a minute.
Huh?
I'm triggered that his profile picture's a Charmeleon. Sir, you do not deserve to have such a cool Pokemon as your profile picture. Fuck off.
Yeah, what points did I miss? Like in here, like the stuff that he mostly doubled down on his perspective, and at points that that's the point. I'm trying to change the direction. Which is,
you know what? Fuck you. Unchars your million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
if he is not worthy of a Charmeleon avatar, he is definitely not worthy of a Charizardable avatar.
Yeah, and the Bermstar, no, the Bemstar, fuck, it's an Ultra Kaiju. How did I get that name wrong? Well, oh my god. Retard end on my end here, so I'll say that. Man, usual writer fans do not take any criticize against dark, edgy shows. Here's the thing, if it was valid criticism, I would very much accept it. But
yeah,
the criticism he was taking was either criticizing the vision and basically saying they couldn't do it right regardless because it wasn't in the original, or he was saying a bunch of stuff that were just wrong, and I've cleared that up here if there was any stuff I could have worded better in the original. And of course, here's what I said, because again, I do not hate this person. I wanted to make it clear. They just had a really shitty take, and that's it. So I say, okay, so I'm going to let you know, I'm working on a response video, but before that comes, I think it's important I say this, since, and I'm not trying to be a jerk here, you seem upset, and that wasn't my goal. I held back on you like I did other individuals because what the edgy sense of humor was, as I stated at the end of the video, added for entertainment purposes and satire. That's why the jokes made are basically just absurd ways of saying you're gay rather than anything personal. As for the mama joke, let me explain. If your mother was featured in your video and I was saying this stuff, it'd be an issue, since clearly I'd be mocking her personally. However, I don't know her, I don't know what she looks like, I don't know her name, so anything I state about the actual person, same way I mentioned... So, I don't know her name, so anything I state about the actual person, same way I mentioned your girl once, I don't even know if you have a girlfriend, is irrelevant. Really no different than how I do that stuff with my friends. I understand you're likely not used to that kind of joking around, and I guess I could have toned it down a bit. I do indeed stand by the majority of my points. That wasn't me screwing around and will be addressed in mine. And he responded, thanks for letting me know. Feel free to do what you want, but I don't intend to go any further with this. I said my piece and moving on to other things. Good luck with your channel. I hope we can let bygones be bygones. And I said, and like I said, I tackled actual what I got a problem with and went much further. But yeah, man, good luck to you as well. Also, I understand you're kind of just beginning your channel, so I guess I could have been less harsh on the quality. I just kind of want to address my arguments and entertain my audience. Lol. I think I handled that well. What do you guys say?
Yeah.
You handled it far better than a certain Jagoff with a bicycle, with a helmet in place of a beret.
Yeah, because the thing is, I don't have issues with this guy. I think he just spurged out and made a very shitty take. And I think he has potential for the future. But if this was Professor Otaku, I would have went much harder on him, and not because he's on he's on the left side. No, it's because Professor Otaku is far more insufferable. This guy, on the other hand, he made a shitty video. That's it. I wish you luck. You could do better in the future, but if you want to survive on this platform, you got to take jokes better, and you also got to take criticisms better, or you're going to get people that are going to eat you alive far more than I did, because I went easy.
Oh, trust me, you really don't want a piece of that Razor Fist man. Like that dude.
I mean, I'm sure you get a piece of that Razor
savage.
Fist. I mean, you get the piece. I'm sure you get a piece of that Razor Fist, man. Abyss Kaiser probably wants some because he enjoys being dominated. He's just sitting in the corner smiling, eating popcorn while it happens with you, being like, "I'm next."
And that's why I love hanging out with you guys, because we're jerks to each other, and that's why we love each other.
Yeah.
Gay.
And Sad Boy Requiem said, "Life isn't black or white. It's a fucked up kaleidoscope."
Kaleidoscope.
Okay. I'm not wearing my glasses right now, so 50 Shades of Grey, if you will. Well, I mean, in this case, it's 50 Shades of Gay, but okay. But anyway, do you guys have
bad case of dyslexia. Gotcha.
Yeah, but you guys have anything more to say before we end this off?
Nope.
You, Abyss?
That was probably the best stream we've done so far, like I said.
Yeah, I agree. You, Matt?
All I gotta say is Mortal Kombat Ultra Violence and it's in titties, man. That's all I gotta say.
Anyway, that was it for this episode. Please comment your thoughts down below. And if you enjoyed it, smash that like button, share it around, and subscribe. Make sure to also check out the Twitch channel since I stream on there occasionally. I do want to get back to streaming more on YouTube though, but I also like streaming on Twitch since I want to kind of grab a community from there and take them to the YouTube channel. And in the ones I do have on Twitch, I'm editing them for more polished versions on YouTube. While stuff like this, where we're just reacting to some person online, that could easily be just streamed on YouTube because I don't really need to edit that outside of maybe cutting out moments of air, but I'm not going to do that. I like to have some types of stream on here. But also check out social medias and alt text. Check out my boy Zimzilla99's channel, who makes great content. I've done plenty of collabs with him and gonna do further. Check out Abyss Kaiser. He's lazy as fuck and hasn't done much with his channel yet, but he does plan to do some in the future.
You've been saying that a bunch of times forever now. When I do something, I will say it.
Dude, I am even lazier, okay?
Mad Matt doesn't have any content on his channel because he's busy getting anal fucked by Razor Fist. Actually, he's getting the Razor Fist. We all know that.
Hey, if I wanted to be fisted by someone, it better be Razor Fist.
We'll take that as a confession.
That dude gives good head, let me tell you.
Oh, the confession here. Spicy. But, yeah, this is Gojin the Makai Phantom, leaving the building.
Wait.
What?
1, 2, 3, say ha-ha. 1, 2, 3. All right. See y'all.
Adios, boys.